move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to the first of your Sunday night V8 Supercar races. Round 1 tonight's going to take us to the Donington Park GP circuit, proudly brought to you by Dragon LC, tonight's round sponsor. Proud providers of all of your remote control hobbying equipment, including remote control cars, planes, helicopters, you name it. I am Scotty Rattlegun Rankin alongside the big boy, the boss himself. It's Stephen Sinkovic. And Sinkovic, we've been to Donington a few times this week. It is a tough and tricky layout, particularly on cold tyres, easy to run wide, and I'm actually expecting a lot of failed qualifying attempts during that top 10 shootout.
I can see that happening too, mate. And if you want to know about running wide, just watch my my racing of this week. That first corner, if you don't get it right, you're going to guarantee running wide. And that hairpin at the very end, the one that you can see at the top there, that sticks out between the straight bits, that's absolutely a killer as well. And there's a few incidents during the week which we saw happen across there. What do you make of the temperature today, mate, and the wind and all that sort of thing? Any sort of effect that you're expecting to happen on the tyres?
Well, first and foremost, I haven't walked outside today. So I can't tell you what the local conditions are like. But in terms of track temperatures and everything that's localized to the sim, which is what Stephen was actually talking about, 21 degrees Celsius out on track. It is going to be 21 degrees Celsius, low humidity, low wind speed, clear skies as well. That says to me we've got ourselves a high grip session, which I think is probably going to go the way that a lot of our drivers would like. To anyone out there as well who's taken part and just finished out your iRacing Daytona 24-hour race, we hope that you guys are sitting down, sitting back, resting those tired wrists, those tired legs. Steve, you don't tend to take part in most of the iRacing stuff. I've seen that there's been a lot of following though from the SRW community of all the big major teams that have been taking part. Yeah, I look at all these SRW drivers that are racing everywhere and all over the place and do these big events, and I look at them as my drivers, so I enjoy watching, seeing what they're doing, who's getting an update and everything like that. But to sit there and watch it, or even to participate in an enduro at that level, is mind-boggling, and I don't think my brain would handle anything more than an hour behind a steering wheel as far as focus is concerned. Mate, we'll get you in a team. I think so. I took part in 2 this weekend. It's a tradition I have. I generally try and run 2 in the one weekend. One of the teams I had 6 or 7 drivers, and it was only about 3 hours racing for some of them, spread across the 24 hours. So we can get you in. We can find you something. We'll get Stephen Sinkovic behind the wheel of an endurance car at some point in the future, ladies and gentlemen. That is our first shots live from the track, as I believe we've just crossed over to the tail end of our practice session. So drivers are getting their final runs in, their data in. Connor Nixon has just sent me across some fuel numbers. We're looking at 3.32 litres per lap in terms of fuel burn. So that is what the drivers are sort of about at the moment. And honestly, at this point in time, you want to be finalising those numbers, Steve. You do not want to be heading into the next section with question marks over those fuel numbers.
100%, and it's good to see our co-commentator, Mr. Pixie Nixon, out there. And we'll see. He kept telling me all last season, how good he is there and how good he is that. I'm really looking forward to watching him race, to be honest, and see what he can do out there with the boys.
Yeah, he said he's got a whole bunch of talent. It has been a while since I've seen him in a supercar, and I can tell you for a fact, when I've been in his ear and we've been bantering away and having some fun in the off-season, he is exceptionally keen to get out there and get involved. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, let us know at home who your drivers are that you're following here this evening. I know Peter Morris will be out there in the Fishy Land as being a Fishy supporter. Good to hear from Pete as well over the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, things have not gone well for him, and he's ended up with some extended injuries. There's a few drivers that are in and out all around, and it's New Year, new attitude, I think, is the way that a lot of drivers are approaching this team.
Yeah, I reckon it is a fresh start, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting. There's a massive grid out there. I don't know exactly how many drivers there is tonight, but we have a full sellout of 50 drivers and a few new faces, but I'd say all the boys that have been there for the last season are going to be out to have a really, really good start to the season.
Yep, righto, ladies and gentlemen, we are just moments away from getting into our first qualifying effort of the season. We're going to have 30 minutes here, the duration of the qualifying session. Following that, the top 10 will move on to the top 10 shootout, which has become a staple in the sim racing world. V8 Supercars series. Drivers look forward to it each and every week. And Steve, I hear you're a big fan of the old top 10 shootout. You seem to really like the action that goes on board.
I reckon it's awesome. I reckon it's absolutely awesome. It's the first day I suggested us to do this top 10 shootout, everyone thought I was crazy.
I still do.
That was in the early days before we even got conceptually to season 4 to do it. And then it was like, you know what, guys, no one's doing it. We've got an awesome team in the back end. We've got an awesome broadcast team. I said, this has got to work. And look at it, it's awesome. Have a look at the Tuesday nights with the amateurs. Those guys absolutely loved it. I was talking to the guys afterwards, and everyone was like, so cool to have this available to us at this level. Very nervous. Packing their pants. No different to what these guys are going to be doing now, but it's good to hear it from the amateurs' perspective and see how they're preparing for it, and it's lifting them to another level. So I can see a lot of those guys that are sitting sort of mid-pack here in the AMs really lifting this season, going up to the next level. So I'm really pumped, really looking forward to it.
Well, see, something that I really enjoyed was the run that, like you said, on Tuesday nights was a great tester for a lot of these guys as well. It was the opportunity for amateurs to get themselves some extra track time, and one of the biggest things that if you talk to any of the guys who are a little bit further up the grid and how long it's taken them to get up there is track time. It's about getting out there, it's about showcasing your wares, it's about putting yourself out there. Generally, teams will start to look around those amateurs if they're looking for maybe another driver that they want to sort of put forward or look to try and support as they move further on. And that's one of the better ways to do it. And indeed, there's Blake Delaney on screen, running wide.
Running wide.
He's one of the better drivers there are. Give me 2 seconds. I've got somebody just at the door, Steve. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go for it, mate. So Blake's just actually been running in the 24-hour as well. So a few of the Fishy boys have just finished that. So it's going to be interesting to see how their focus levels go through the top 10 shootout, because it is tough. It's like you cannot make a mistake. You've got to be on point on all your apexes, all your entries, all your exits. And if you make that mistake during your hot lap, you're pretty much all gone. And all that time and practice is gone, basically. The boys are coming out now for a bit of a run. And
tell you what, look at that pit lane. Look at that pit lane.
It looks absolutely awesome. So this is what you're seeing at the moment is sunrise. It's a morning session based out of the UK. And that's the sun coming up, and it looks fantastic.
Well, drivers now trundling down to the end of our pit lane. They will hit the end of that pit lane, and they will get into qualifying. What are we looking at in terms of numbers of the drivers who've been in attendance here tonight, Pete? Steve. Sorry, Steve. I've been racing with Pete Baxter all weekend. I've got Pete on the brain. That's
all right, mate. That's all right. I think from what I'm hearing, we've got the same shape anyway. Look, we've got 50 guys registered. We actually sold out on the V8 Pro-Am Sunday session. So it depends on who's actually suffering from from last night's 24-hour. But look, I don't really care as long as everyone's out there having fun. The numbers look high. I can't see from my screen where it is. Maybe ShiBBy in the background can let us know, and we'll pass that info on to everyone. If there's anyone out there in YouTube land, there's 10 people watching already. Let us know who you want to watch, anyone you're supporting, let us know. And if we're not getting them on air, we'll get them on air.
That's actually so critical. We can get eyeballs on these guys. We can get where they're at on track. We can get when they're at on track. We can tell you when they're going at it, when they're looking for a time lap. You know, we can cross all of that off for you and keep eyes on. If you want to keep in touch with where your favourite drivers are, absolutely let us know, because if you don't say anything, we don't know. We'll be following somebody else. I'll tell you that
exactly.
much.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And we watch, I watch the YouTube chat on the left, so does the boys in the background. So we're pretty quick to answer the questions when we've got a second to shut our mouths for a bit, because there's no issues with me and Scotty talking, that's for sure.
I was about to say, we shut our mouths? When does that happen?
Well, when you put some food in it, maybe.
Yeah. No, sorry, apologise for eating in the background, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a bit of a bingle there with Racecraft and looks like it might have been Mr. Miller. But that's all part of it. I can't hear anything coming in from race control, so I'd say it was just a slight incident somewhere along the line.
Looks to be a warm-up lap incident, so those are generally not looked at too intensely. It's just, whatever. You can reset, you'll have another crack at it.
Yeah, correct. It's just interesting to see all these cars on track, if there's going to be anyone calling any incidents, and if anyone's not going to behave themselves during these warm-ups.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be important. Righto, eyes up and down the grid at this point in time. Keep the eyes peeled, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you at this point in time, I've just gotten into the server, got the numbers for you. 39 participants here tonight in qualifying. More may trickle in before the race. That is certainly a potential.
100%. If they're anything like me, they'll be rocking up as qualifying is finished. And that would be the start of my practice for the week. But how good are some of these cars? Look, some of these boys have updated their liveries for this season, and they're looking pretty special. They've got pretty wise. We are on Channel 31 with this race, so this race will be replayed on Wednesday night. And the boys have got smart. There are multiple team members putting a different main sponsor on their car to give them all a bit of a run, which is what we're doing with our Team SRW cars as well. And they're looking spectacular.
Big shout out to all of our viewers over in Channel 31 land, and I apologise for reading in the background, ladies and gentlemen. I've literally just crawled from a car in the iRacing 24 hours, so I've been going since 9 a.m. yesterday morning. I run 2 splits, like I said. Stupid, I know, but I apologise. I haven't had an opportunity to grab something to eat yet, so.
It's all good, mate. You munch away. We'll keep track of who's going where.
Oh, there was a sportsmanship warning just now.
953 got a warning. So Sam Noble's got a warning for bad sportsmanship during the qualifying session then. Not sure what happened, but that's what we're hearing from race control. As you probably, maybe you don't know, you're out there a new viewer. Sim Racing World, we run all our own broadcast team. So it's me, Scotty tonight, and Nathan ShiBBy Howard, our producer in the back end. And we've got our own race control team as well. So tonight's looking after race control is Tyson McAvoy, it's not Jamie Dyke. Tyson McAvoy, Greg Barber, and who's our third? I don't know.
Normally Stephen.
I thought he'd be racing tonight.
It's Tyson McAvoy and Greg Barber, I think. Just the 2 this evening, yeah.
Just the 2 this evening. So they'll look after all the proceedings of telling the guys when to go out, when to come in for their top 10 shootout. They all get into their own little chat room, and Tyson will lead them out and tell them when they can come out, when they can do their warm-up lap, and they'll also guide them into the room here for us to have a bit of chin wag as well. And hopefully we won't miss anything during that chin wag.
That's it, right. Laps starting to come through. Drivers on their hot laps at this point in time. And starting to punch out what they can. Where is the pace going to be? Cars still get on their warm-up laps as well. There's a car off in the first sector. I believe that's Dawson. He's off in the first sector. So cars punching through thick and fast at this point in time. No one really looking to be in control. We'll get our first laps coming to the start-finish line here in just a few seconds as drivers are in the final sector on the run back to the flag. tell you Matt Stewart's had a big moment in the middle of the course as well. So, is that our first car that's going to get back to the start-finish line? I think it is.
Yeah. And what do we got?
So, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're running into some technical difficulties at this point in time. So we actually can't get times directly to you at this point in time straight from the session. But I can tell you that Brennan Nitschke has gone to pole as it stands. And that is a 128.018. 121.1 for Connor Nixon is ahead of Jamie Dyke, who is very closely followed by Bruce Tannock. All of those drivers setting 128.1s with Connor Nixon a 155, a 172, and a 183 for Dyke and Tannock, respectively.
2/10. That's
well, less than a tenth. There is literally 300ths of a second from second to fourth. Fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, and Connor has done really well getting up there. Maybe he can drive.
Don't let him hear you say that.
Well, we won't talk about what he's going to hear after the roasting I got from you two boys the other night.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, sorry, my apologies.
I was preparing separation papers, but I thought I'd give you guys another go.
Look, the only reason we do it, and I mean the only reason, is because we know you have a sense of humor.
Oh, look, man, I got thick skin. And you know what? It's all part and parcel of me driving out there and having fun and getting better and hopefully improving at some point in my short career. But I'll tell you what, don't just get and watch this race tonight, guys. You've got to get out and watch all our other series, because the racing this week has been phenomenal. The amount of cars on track, I mean, the new Toyota was an absolute blast. That was so much fun to drive. We didn't have a full field for the prototypes. It wasn't a massive field, but it was competitive all the way through. And the F3 is gone next level this season. There was 30 odd cars on track. We've got 35 registered, so the season is going to be huge, absolutely huge.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
A little bit more than huge at this point, Steve. Calm down.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, NASCAR trucks and US Open wheelers on a Monday night as well has been insane. Went green the whole distance. Unfortunately, it was technical difficulties on Monday night prevented us from getting that coverage to you guys, but the race went green from lights out the flag. The TCR race as well. The race on Tuesday was quite good. Strong recovery drive from Ray Oliver from back last to first. It was a phenomenal drive to watch. Wednesday night was TCRs. You talked about the Formula 3s. There was some argy-bargy, I tell you what, in the TCRs. If you're looking for door-banging racing, I don't think you can look too far past the TCRs as well. Right, none of that's important at this point in time. We are 10 minutes now into our qualifying session before we move on to the subsequent top 10 shootout. The guys currently that are looking to transfer, Brennan Nitschke, Michael Angus has managed to put it up right next to him in terms of time. There's a lot of trouble in the middle of this lap at this point in time. Nitschke, you can see on board. Somebody's in the grass, and Tannock is the first one in the 27s.
Yeah,
that's it is slicing and dicing every which way. I don't think you can look at this point in time.
Wow. Keep going, mate. You got as far as
well, it's all changed. It's all changed. The few moments that I was trying to talk to our ladies and gentlemen at home, it has all changed yet again. I can tell you, so Bruce Tannock now has jumped up to pole. That's the car that you're looking at on the screen at this point in time. Immediately behind him, Nitschke still holds it. Michael Angus is slotted into P3. Then the next two that we were talking about earlier, minus Bruce Tannock, at the tail end of those two are still Connor Nixon and Jamie Dyke, Matt Stewart, Cameron Jones, Harry Dodds has managed to get himself inside the top 10. That is a solid qualifying effort from Dodds. Sanford Wednesdays is P9, and Dave Kirby rounds out your top 10. You know who is missing from there? There's a ton of fishy drivers in the field
there is a
that would have locked themselves into the top 10 shootout last season at the drop of a hat. Not so anymore.
Yeah. Well, you've got an interesting one there for you. Harry Dodds changed teams over the summer. So he's now racing for, is it...
Frog Leap Juice Racing, yeah.
Yeah, Juice Frog Leap Racing. Left Tyson's team, who's part of our organisation. And good luck to him. I think he had a fairly good showing in the GT3s until things went pear-shaped for him.
Yeah, I think it's been a really, really good partnership. I think what was going on there was he just needed a change of scenery, and I think it's a phenomenal partnership.
You do that sometimes. It's just, a change of scenery is as good as a holiday, like just like in work and just out here, working with people with different perspective on racing, different techniques and strategies. That was very well held by Bruce then.
Yeah, he is a drift car driver. If you're watching Bruce Tannock, ladies and gentlemen, drift car driver in real life. So that man can handle his race cars. Right, there's more laps starting to come in. I'm just looking for anyone else who's shaken the order up. Dyke has now gone to all but a 27. He is 9 thousandths away from breaking into the 27s. So he has jumped up to P2. There are still cars off everywhere. I'm looking around, I'm looking up and down the field, and the thing that strikes me, Steve, is this looks to be all about track position and all about timing.
You get spot on there, mate. It's a very hard track to pass on. You got a few spots where on here where you can try to dive it in and hopefully outbrake someone, but you got to take the risk. You got to take the punt here. It's not going to be an easy move. You got to wait for someone to make a mistake. And just make sure you're there to take advantage of it. So it's going to be a tough one. Strategy, fuel numbers. There's going to be some passing in the pits. This is going to be a really tough race.
Now, cars still trying to cycle through, and I can tell you that D Nash from the Riot Sim Racing clan has just thrown himself into P4. So he's jumped up from P16 with an absolute stonking lap, ladies and gentlemen.
Very impressive.
Stonking lap.
Very impressive. A 1:28.038. So he's the highest ranked amateur at this point. There's actually a few pros that are sitting down the bottom there, which I thought they'd be a bit higher. Mr. Coleman sitting.
But have a look at that track map, Steve. Have a look at that track map and have a look how busy it is.
Yeah.
Standing room only, trying to get yourself a clear track to go racing on.
Yeah. Do you think we're at a point now where in the SRW you really got to need yourself to have a spotter and talk to you and say, this is the time to go out, otherwise you're going to be screwed. Find some free air. It's getting to that point where it's like that.
There are a lot of teams that have them. A lot of teams with a spare driver around that's not doing anything on a Sunday night, and just with the number of cars on track, I don't think you have much of a choice. If you've got somebody spare on a Saturday night, a Sunday night, I think they've got to be out there in race car land.
100%. Especially when you're looking at that. Look at the field now. Oh my God, you'd really want to be in that gap there, wouldn't you? On the left of the screen, crossing the start-finish.
Well, that's actually not a gap. That's actually not a gap. That's a limitation on the iRacing server. There are cars in that gap.
Yeah.
It's just that they are not being drawn at the moment, such as the volume of cars on the circuit.
So your top 10 at the moment, we're looking at the halfway mark. You've got Bruce Tannock sitting on a 1:27.9, Jamie Dyke on a 1:28 flat. B. Netsketsky, is that how you pronounce it?
Brennan Nitschke
at a 1:28.01. D. Nash and a 1:28.038. M. Angus and a 1:28.046. This is how close this is, guys. Cameron Jones on a D. Kirby on a 1:28.049. Crazy times. Cameron Jones on a 1:28.136. Little Pixie Nixon on a 1:28.155. Matty Stewart on a 1:28.310. And Gerard Sampuentes on a 1:28.383. I love saying that name. But that's crazy. If you look at from second down to sixth, it's 1/100th, 2/100ths. It's nuts. It's really close. It's getting to the point where it's like real world.
But I can tell you there's a couple of guys in this class as well that are actually within the V8 veterans community, which means they have to be 40 years of age or over. Have a look at that queue on the right-hand side to get out of the pit lane. That is a queue to get out of the pit lane because they're just waiting for the free spot on the track, and there are cars filing down into turn number one with those cars waiting to get out of pit lane. It is standing room only. At the moment, Steve, and I can tell you, there's a couple drivers that I'm sort of looking at. So Dave Kirby's just had one of his best results ever in V8 Veterans. Was a real back-of-the-grid struggle bus of a night, but managed to pull a great result out this week. Chris Miller's not had a fantastic season, to be honest with you, Steve. He looks to be struggling at the moment, and I would say he's struggling a little bit. But then again, it's a different format. This is open setup, whereas that's a fixed setup race. So it completely and utterly changes the ball in terms of what the drivers have got at their disposal.
So in our amateurs at the moment, Dean Nash is flown away over time. He's sitting on a spectacular 128.038. The next amateurs after that is Jay Jackson at a 128.7. So he's like 7/10 ahead of them. After that, it's Troy Dooley, third fastest. D Gray, fifth fastest. Then Andrew Cowan, sixth fastest. Brad Wall, my teammate, our teammate, in seventh fastest. Following him, Daniel Clutterbuck, eighth. Stefan Lawrence, previous amateur winner, in ninth. And Michael Quash in 10th. So these boys, they're no slouches by any means at all. We're talking 129.4 for Clutterbuck, and above that, it's still only, what is it, a second, if that.
Well, the times have changed again from the top end of the town, Steve, because Bruce Tannock has just improved his time. But get this, 0.3 of a second. He's really starting to punch clear of the field. He is now 3.5 of a second quicker than Jamie Dyke. So he has really punched forward. Other than that, the next 5 cars are covered by 0.5. 500, it's less than that. It's 0.04 of a second. Covers from P2 to P5. P6.
That's unreal. That is unreal. It's you know what? It's going to be a spectacular top 10 shootout, but I think it's going to be an absolutely spectacular race, man. How many safety cars are you predicting?
Honestly, at this point in time, I'm saying 2. I'm saying 2 because opening night tends to breed more safety cars. It's just a known factor, isn't it, Steve? New drivers in the league, new drivers racing around each other, drivers learning the rule book, learning what they can and can't do. It tends to breed a little bit of chaos.
Yeah, we've had some really I can't remember the track that we had a few seasons back for a first round, and we thought it was going to be Carnegie City. So they might sort of peg it back a little bit and surprise us. But if they go the other way, I'm telling you, my prediction is that we're going to have 2 safety cars within the first 10 laps.
Well, what do you do at home? What do you do in terms of strategy if you get a safety car, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
You know that pitting under the safety car is huge. But with a 40-car field, Steve,
track is king.
If 5 or 6 cars take that safety car, you're going to the tail end of the chain.
Yeah. And that tail end of the chain is only 2 seconds apart in the first few laps, 3 seconds apart.
You're not getting those spots back. No, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. It is a massive slog. And you know what? Some of these drivers are good enough to fight their way through, but it's not going to be easy tonight because even the amateurs in this league, they're no slouches at all. You want to see the slouches? See them on Tuesday night. Because that's when I race. I'd love to be out there with these boys, but it's just gone. It's gone past that level. I would be doing more hindrance and getting in the way than being able to enjoy it.
Well, I was just about to say, I think I would really like to get a picture-in-a-picture cam going on a Tuesday night, and it would be the Stephen Sinkovic on board shot. I don't know if that's possible.
Or it is possible, but all you would see is my VR goggles.
Well, I was going to say, if we got the on-board shot, not the external shot, all you're going to be is, for fans of roller coasters, you can pay $10 in, so that'd be about it. Righto, so we are now down to 9 minutes. We're under 9 minutes left in the session, and it's for those top 10. Let's have a look at who's on the bubble. Let's have a look at the times that are coming in. Remember that we've just seen Tannock go out and punch out clear at the top end of the town. Well, Brennan Nitschke's just done the same as well. He's done a 27.955, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to make our 1 to 2 covered by 0.29 of a second. continues to be standing room only with drivers trying to find that hole in track. But I can tell you what, if we can have a look at the back straight at this point in time, I'm looking at the 911 driver of Darren Nash, I believe it is. He is crawling down the back straight, trying to just find that hole in the traffic where he can have a go. And the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, as well, it's not just about there's some cars on the back straight right now. Have a look at them, letting cars go. That's Nash on the right-hand side. There's more drivers trying to find gaps. It's not just as simple, ladies and gentlemen, as find a hole in the track. Because if you come across a slower driver on the lap, that holds you up. You have to abort, you go again.
Yeah. Do you reckon this has just made it real world? It's like... There's just the qualifying just gone to the next level. You just really have to try to be as professional as possible to take advantage of it.
I don't think everyone has enough eyes. I honest to God, believe that it is, yes, you've got to be quick, but you've also got to be lucky or talented enough to know where the traffic is and the hole in the traffic is going to be. And that hole can disappear as you start your lap and another car feeds out of pit lane.
Yeah. It's... I'm a bit flabbergasted at the moment. I've got goosebumps because I think it's going to be crazy. And it's...
Is your head spinning yet?
Oh, it is. That's 7 minutes left. And these boys are going crazy out there. Nitschke and Tanak are the only ones under 20, under the 128 at the moment. JB's dropped down third. Kirby's popped up at a 128.035. Then Nash, then Angus, Cameron Jones. Pixie Nixon is surprising me. He can drive. Cifuentes and Matty Stewart has finally made it into the top 10. So, and then you've got your fishy boys sitting in 11, 12. Delaney and Coleman. They haven't missed the top 10 shootout all of last season.
And I was about to say, Steve, I think that's just the commentary box hazing, fun. We get the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody likes to stick microphones in front of our mouths. And that means that we get the opportunity to say things. And Steve has just had his best opportunity to colloquially haze, shall we say, Connor Nixon for the first time ever. He's copped it a few times from Connor. But Connor, look out if you're listening along at home, because Steve is going to get the opportunity to talk some smack about you all season long. And you're going to enjoy every opportunity, I think, Steve.
That's all I can say.
Nixon has a fantastic sense of humour. He loves the banter back and forth.
He does.
As do a lot of the drivers, though, up and down the season, the series.
Yeah.
If you talk
and
to
we've got a few guys in YouTube popping up and saying hello. Dean Reddit's popped up his head and he goes, if we get a chance to interview Nashi, ask him why his nickname is Bilbo Sandbaggins. And we've got a SRW legend that just popped in and said hello. Good evening, Mr. Leak.
Well, there you go.
We didn't think was ever going to drive again, but he's driven 2 races this week and he had a blast. Yeah, he had a blast. He popped
most
in and
importantly is that chuckle. That chuckle is synonymous with the SRW Open.
Let's see if I can get it.
Not even close. Not even close.
He's a heavy smoker, so he's got a very deep, graspy chuckle. Brett Warby, yes, Dikey is in there, mate. He's sitting in 4th place, sitting on a 128.009. Cameron Jones has just popped up into 2nd, Scotty. He's got himself into the 127, so things are heating up with 4.5 minutes left. So maybe it's time we stop talking smack about everyone out there and give these guys that are out there watching and looking at it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we are now under the 5-minute bubble. Indeed, we're about to go 4 minutes left on qualifying for Dragon RC once again this week. It is the first Sim Racing World V8 Supercars Super Session, your Sunday night entertainment. Do not adjust your set, do not adjust your picture, because we have got the next probably hour and a half worth of V8 Supercars action on a Sunday night coming your way. Right now, the driver on the bubble is Gerard Sanfuentes. His lap time, a 128.274 to get inside the top 10 shootout. The driver immediately behind him is last season's pro champion, Dave Coleman. And guess what? The lap time differential of whether you're in or you're out is the difference of 24 thousandths of a second. 2.5 hundredths.
I got to interrupt you. Delaney has just whipped out a 127.6 to go to the front of the list.
Well, that moves everyone down a few spots, and Matt Stewart has just thrown the car in nice and deep into the top 10. Guess who your bubble driver is? It's the commentary box hero. It is Connor Nixon. Late in the session now, his lap time of a 128.155 was one of the very first. It was within the top 5 at the start of the session. It has held. Nixon is on a lap. He's getting held up at this point in time. You will only get one more lap in this session. You won't get a chance for another one here, Steve. And he has got to improve. The buffer now back to Jerry Sanfuentes is 1.2 tenths of a second. So he's got a little bit of buffer room. Up at the top end of town, Delaney goes to pole, or provisional pole, will be the last shootout driver to run, with the 27.643 by 5 hundredths of a second. 2 hundredths of a second over Bruce Tannock. I can't read that one, that's why. Cameron Jones is in P3 and looks safe and set. So your top will run through them from top to bottom as the session starts to draw to a close. 27.643, Blake Delaney. 27.669, Bruce Tannock. Cameron Jones, 27.906 with 5 hundredths of a second. Back to Brendan Nitschke, the Frog League juiced entry at 27.955. From there, it's going to be another 5 hundredths of a second back to Jamie Dyke, who is in P5 and cements himself right in the middle of the top 10 shootout order at this point in time. Fishy teammate immediately behind, Dave Kirby, is going to be at 128.035. A 0.38 for Dave Nash is going to be 3 thousandths of a second in P6 and 7. Then we throw 12 thousandths of a second back to Michael Angus. Matt Stewart is currently at 28.065. And your last two drivers in the shootout at this point in time, remember, still a minute and a half left on our qualifying session, both driving for the 1.9 Sim Racing outfit. Connor Nixon, 128.155. The driver on the other side of that bubble is a 128.274. Drivers' lap times. Keep your eyes on the bottom of the screen. We again apologise for the timing tower issues that are going on tonight. I think the timing tower has decided that it is setting fire with the lap times that are coming out from these drivers. Gasser
is on a really good lap at the moment, so all green sectors. So far, he's got the most improvement. Has he jumped up?
He hasn't set a lap, has he? This is his first lap.
Indeed, he has. Jumped up to 11th.
12th. It's going to be 12th from him.
12th.
Immediately in behind Sanfuentes. So he will throw a 2.88, looking to miss out. Nixon has been bumped, and Nixon is no longer inside your top 10. Will need to improve. He comes to the line. Will he improve? It's a 28.656. Nixon is out of your top 10 shootout inside the last 45 seconds of the session. I'm looking for the driver, ladies and gentlemen, that's bumped him out. I can't see it at this point in time. It might be Coleman. It might be Coleman that's bumped him out.
Coleman has jumped into 4th with a 127.93. Our teammate Brad Wall has just hit a purple sector as well, which is impressive, even though he's an amateur driver. So that's mixed it up a little bit. Not a hell of a lot. So Coleman, who we were wondering where he was going to come out through, has jumped into 4th. So that gives us now 5 guys under the 128s, but still damn close. 906, 937, 955.
There's probably going to be a whole bunch of guys that improve late in the session, Steve, and you know why? Because there's no extra cars filing out of the pit lane. They get free opportunity at their lap. The first time all session that they're looking at a fresh track in front of them. So there's going to be a ton of guys who'll improve late here. We're going to have to keep our eyes on the bubble. Nixon is out. Your current bubble time, a 28.065. Your cars at the back end of the field that are still coming through on their laps are just about done. They're coming into pit lane at the moment. There are 4 drivers on a lap at this point in time. From 20th, it's going to be Wilkinson. 28th at this point in time is Brad Wall, Michael Quash, and finally your current provisional pole sitter prior to the shootout, Blake Delaney, are your drivers that are on a lap. One of those has peeled off. I think it's Wall, and I think there's another driver gone with him, and indeed it is. It's Clutterbuck. Both have abandoned their lap. P20 has abandoned their lap. The session will close. That is it. And your drivers that are through to the first top 10 shootout of the season: Blake Delaney, Bruce Tannock, Cameron Jones, Dave Coleman, Brendan Nitschke, Jamie Dyke, Dave Kirby, Dave Nash, Michael Angus, and Matt Stewart, with Connor Nixon and P11 the first driver to mix out. And it's going to be a whole host of 1.9 drivers at the tail end of that shootout and just barely missing out.
Oh, wow. That is, look, the two fishy boys that have been out there today, popping up in the last few laps, that is pro at its best. That is a really impressive time of 1:27.643 to rip out of nowhere. He was sitting in 12th at that point before that lap came through.
And that lap, ladies and gentlemen, is the difference between a top 10 shootout and not doing it. And that is the difference between your drivers that know how to do it and the drivers that are left down at the bottom. A lot of pressure was put on those laps. Session is closed. So this lap from Troy Dooley will not count.
Yep.
And we'll get the opportunity to reset the timing tower.
Having a bit of fun.
And get into our top 10 shootout.
Well, there you go. There's your top 10, top 20 guys. Be in mind that is not everyone that's out there racing tonight. It's just what we can display, and it is spectacular.
Any surprises inside that top 10 for you? I think Nietzsche, I wasn't expecting that raw speed from Nietzsche. He's done a phenomenal job for me.
Well, I haven't seen him race before or his name before. He's a newbie to our league, and very impressive. He's qualified pre-season qualifying as a amateur, and to come up there and do that job was pretty special.
Two drivers that are also late entry. Sorry, just an update on that one. Nietzsche was a pro entry, so the two drivers I can see inside the top 10 shootout that were not on the pro list at this point in time were Cameron Jones and Dave Nash. Cameron Jones didn't actually participate in pre-qualifying, but look at that one. So we'll have to keep an eye on his performance tonight. That might be a late assignment.
My name's mixed up. I was actually talking about Nash.
That's why I figured you were.
Yeah.
But so you just got excited by Nietzsche, didn't you? I saw that.
Yeah, I did. I'm excited by all the new drivers in here and really want to see how they go. It's pretty impressive. Some of our boys that are even in the amateurs that are usually sitting closer to the top of the field have dropped down a bit as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Miller, I thought he would do a bit better than where he is at the moment.
Matty Scholes as well is a long way down.
Be just out of the top 10. Scholes as well, yeah.
21st for Scholes.
Stewart's had a bit of a drop in pace, but I mean, it's not really. It's like 4/10. Really, the top 10 is 4/10. So it really is this. I mean, this track isn't easy by any means. You've got to, like that first corner, you've got to hit that right because that determines how you're going to go through those first windy sections. And that very last corner that takes you back to the track, back to the straight, again, there as well. There's a few key points that you've got to nail every single time. So the first guys that are going to come out soon, they're probably doing a warm-up at the moment and having a bit of a last-minute check on how they're going to go, where their points are, making sure they're going. And while they're doing that, we're probably switching servers and watching some Dragon RC action. These things are absolute weapons. So we're going to be doing a bit of a segment on our Channel 31 review show where we're going to actually show some of these guys in real world racing and hopefully give you a bit of an idea of what sort of pace these things do. So it's going to be a bit of fun. But you can watch this race on Wednesday night, and there'll be a replay on Saturday afternoon at 2:00 as well. So that'll be.
There's a couple of things I'll point out to you there that I do know a little bit about RC racing. I actually won a 24-hour race last year with a guy who participates in high level RC car oval racing in the States, actually.
Yep.
So he's right into it. And he talks constantly about having to modify the body and the adjustments that he'll make to it. The petrol that they use in the engines. If they're using battery operated cars, they'll use different battery amperages, sizes on the batteries, the weight limitations on the classes, the body limitations on the classes. You've really got to be sort of an engineer to get to some of the levels.
It's not too different what you do in the real world or what they do even in the sim world. Yeah, you've got to adjust your suspensions, your curb rate. You've got to do your toe ins, all that sort of stuff. It comes into effect. You see, wait till we show this show. The way they drive is ridiculous. It's like a real car. If you weren't depending on what sort of shooting of the video it is, they look like real vehicles, and the way they drive them is crazy.
Have you seen the endurance racing, the RC endurance racing cars where they actually do actual pit stops? But the pit stops are 3 seconds for a full tank. You literally come in and they have an injector. They jab it straight into the fuel tank.
Yeah. They come on a big ramp, and then you see the pit crew just grab this car and go, push, put the gas in, and the thing just shoots off like a bullet. It's crazy fast.
There's not 10 guys that sprint out from behind the wall. No, none of that. It's just two guys.
No.
One
Just
guy to
one
hold the
guy.
car, one to inject it.
Yep. And you miss it, you screw up your driver's race big time. But again, they damage cars in racing. They get penalties for not driving accordingly as well, just like they do in our systems as well. So
one of the big differences to race to both sim racing and real world racing, in terms of full size cars though, is that marshals will walk on the track in the middle of the race to flip cars back over. So that is a small difference.
that's one thing I'm not good at, is flipping a car onto its roof.
Don't lie to me, Steve. Don't lie to me. I know you're talented. The jump at Bathurst, you hit that when you're trying to make the track is what I...
Yeah, people think I'm trying to jump the wall, but I'm just trying to get around. Ray Oliver has popped in. RC is so complex. Weight, position, shocks, oils, diff, oils, batteries, body changes for tuning and conditions. Why am I not surprised that Ray Oliver knows about that stuff?
Mate, Ray Oliver knows about Formula Vs. You know he participates in the Formula V Australia series on Wednesday nights every second week. Actually, I think he hosts it. He's the reason it even exists. That's in partnership with Formula V Australia. Ray Oliver's just involved with everything, and his favourite story about race car racing or sim racing is Nathan Allen driving a pace car off the circuit. He loves that story. It gets dragged up anytime you interview Mr. Ray Oliver.
He's a very similar RC to Tyson McAvoy, is he? So when he drives the the safety car, I get extra publicity because you exit.
Yeah. You see, the guy that actually produced that clip of the SRW safety car driving off course, Nathan Allen, because he wanted to know and he wanted to prove it to the world that he wasn't the only one.
Surprise.
Oh, righto, Matty Stewart. Look at that sexy face that's on the bottom left-hand corner. I swear to God, we have got more than one male model within the sim racing world archives. He, ladies and gentlemen, is on his warm-up lap. This is his lap to bring the tyres up to temperature, to get himself settled in. A lot of the drivers within a V8 Supercar world, Steve, they tend towards a low-stress, a low-impact warm-up lap. They want to keep those pressures down as much as possible. You don't do any... You're just trying to survive.
You know me, mate. I'm like a bull out of a gate.
There's no thought that goes into a warm-up lap.
I'm just like, I want to get out there and just go. It's like, what? Pressure? What? Tyre heat? What?
So we'll be doing the top 10 shootout, in particular the normal top 10 shootout fashion. That means your 10th fastest qualifier from the previous session will be the first driver on track. That driver is Matt Stewart. I can tell you the track temperature, track conditions are slightly different. Everyone will be sitting back and paying attention to this lap. He is about one corner away from going to be the first SRW Top 10 shootout, proudly brought to you from a Melville Equipment Corporation contestant. Final corner, run to the flag, and that's green, Steve. This is the first lap of the Top 10 shootout for 2023 on a Sunday night.
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride.
Mate, this is what talent looks like. This is what skill looks like. I know it's new to you, but have a look, ladies and gentlemen. On the curbs, car positioning important. Slight correction on the run down the hill to the old hairpin. You'll hang a right. He might have picked up the inside curbs. If he has, that is an incident point, and that is lap over. In which case, you should be able to see him, but he's pressing on with the lap up underneath Starkey's Bridge. Into McLean's as this right-hander cresting the hill. And the thing that drew me to the track on Wednesday night in the TCR race, Steve, I can tell you, late apexes and off-camber uphill apexes and downhill apexes. This track changes its angle everywhere, as does Matt Stewart and his steering angle as he has to correct a second slide on the lap. This is scratchy from Stewart.
Yeah, he's a little bit of overdriving there. I think he's trying to make up for his low position in the shootout results. But he's making a time, and I'm telling you now, there'll be a few boys that won't make a time. They'll make a mistake.
It's purples across the board, ladies and gentlemen, only because he is the first driver to set a time in all sectors. That means he is the fastest driver in every sector out there. One more corner on the edge, on the braking zone. Arrests the car. It's to the flag. The previous time, is he going to eclipse it from Matt Stewart? I believe it was a 28.0. He is going to come home in the books. The lap will count, but it's a 28.5. And there are tenths left on the table there for the chili bin. And he will not be happy, I don't think, with that lap. But he is a cool and calm customer if ever I've seen one. More importantly, Matt Stewart, I've always wanted to ask you about that photo that's in the bottom left-hand corners of our screen. Where was that one taken?
That was at Barbagallo Raceway, actually.
Were you turning racing laps then? What's the story behind the photo?
Yeah, I was actually. I was on one of those V8 fun drives or whatever they are.
Mate, what's Barbagallo Raceway like? Is all they say about the sand-swept, low-grip nature of it true? Was there a lot of sliding that went on in that one?
To be honest, there wasn't that much sliding there. Like the car that I was driving just had so much grip, but I was trying to slide it and I just couldn't get it sideways. So yeah.
Mate, Stephen Sinkovic can give you lessons in that. More right boot is generally the accepted tip on that one. Righto, lap was a 28.5. Obviously a little bit scratchy. We saw multiple catches mid-corner and that break into the last corners, stepping out. Not quite happy with the lap?
Oh, not my finest lap, no, but you know, it's not really anywhere more further down I can go in the top 10, so you know, it is what it is, and yeah, sweet as.
In terms of that qualifying session tonight, it's a short lap around here. 39 cars were out there at some point during the qualifying session. Was it about luck? Was it about timing?
Yeah, definitely timing. It was hard to get a good bit of clear air there for a bit, but I mean, you just got to do what you can do, I guess so.
Righto, mate. Best of luck here tonight. Worst you can finish is P10 in the shootout. Go and get them for us.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Righto, that is...
done a purple in the second sector, so he's hit a green for the first. So he's moving along nicely. We've got the timing tower working now, so apologise for the first half hour. We had some...
Oh! How big was the correction there from Michael Angus coming through the Estes? So, still quicker in the sector, late on the brakes down to the Melbourne hairpin. There'll be one more corner left to run, and then it's on to Dave Nash, who'll be the next driver to have a crack at it. At least the last corner is nice and clean, so the first sector was gold there from Matt Stewart. It was really an attacking first sector. It was the second half of the lap where he lost all the time. Green in the last sector as well, which means there was some pace there for Matt Stewart, and it's only 1.5 tenths quicker here, Steve. I'll feel like Angus might have left some time there on the table as well, as he's just going to join us in the commentary booth.
G'day, boys.
How are you, mate? How'd you like that?
Oh, it was going all right until the last sector. Ran a bit wide at the hairpin and lost a couple of tenths there, but we're on the board, so that's all that matters.
Well, you're in first position at the moment, mate, so worst you can do is 9th.
No, that's what I said before we went out. I said qualified 9th, so you can really only go forward.
No, that's true.
So, had a crack, but yeah, one little mistake probably cost us a couple of tenths in there, but we'll see how we go.
What's your plan for the first few laps? You're going to try to stay safe, stay clean, or
Yeah,
try to get the positions early?
Yeah, this track sort of lends itself to a little bit of carnage early, so I think if we can just keep it clean for the start of the race. So there's a few fish up in the top 10 there, so if we can potentially work together a little bit just to keep it clean, and then when we get to the back half of the race, have a bit of a crack.
Mate, how's the practice starts been going? Have you put a lot of work and effort into those? Because I think they're going to be crucial this season.
I might go and do one now that you've said that. But no, we've had a few races in the last couple of weeks. We've had a bit of qualifying for a few different series at the moment, so the practice starts aren't too bad. That being said, I don't want to jinx it, so I'll pretend like they're terrible, and then we can only look forward.
Mate, you've been in the commentary booth before. You know exactly what a commentator's curse looks like. Well avoided. Best of luck here tonight, mate. Have a great one.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
All right, David Nash is halfway through the lap. Again, a green sector in that first one. That says to me, Matt Stewart has got that first sector lined up and keyed up. That was deep through the S's as well from Nash. He is pushing the limits here, Mr. Sinkovic.
Use that corner big time. Takes this
green. Green once again, which means that now, so your first three sectors, the best sector belong to one each of the three drivers that have done a lap or on a lap right now. The final sector What's it going to be for Nash? Lights up the rear tyres, the run to the flag. David Nash is going to set himself a 1:28.7. And after qualifying 8 in the previous session, he will only manage currently 3rd, but looking like it's going to slide all the way to 10th at the moment, Dave Nash. That was scrappy.
Jeez, go easy. Holy shit. Nah, that was just way too conservative. I should have just let it have it, but oh well, happens.
Well, it's better to have a time than not have a time, mate. But I guess 10's a 10.
Hey, one of the other boys might get an off track and get one place, but hey, P10's better than P30.
Correct, mate. And you know what? I'm tipping you. Everyone's done a clean lap so far. Someone's going to do a dirty lap. It's guaranteed.
You say that, Steve, and Dave Kirby just about loses the rear end going to start the lap. So that is going to get the heart racing from Dave Kirby. So you said conservative there, Nash. I'm assuming that's what the approach is tonight.
Absolutely not. No,
full send?
Yeah, full send. Why not?
All right, send it so deep you'll end up at the boat ramp down there with Jacob Hughes.
Like that, wouldn't you?
Mate, you get floating away down the river. You have a good night, hey?
You too. Cheers, boys.
See you, Nash. I tell you what, those Right Sim Racing boys as well, they were also caught up in 24-hour fever, Steve.
Yeah.
We actually, Pete Baxter and I went head-to-head with them, and I've got bad news. They came out on top. I'm thoroughly disappointed about that, but I'm here in the commentary booth and as far away from a V8 supercar as I can possibly be. But I still get to witness the roar that is Dave Kirby's engine as he comes down the back straight as well. We'll see.
2 greens is good, as long as they're consistent greens all the way.
Oh, lap boarded. Lap done. You
done?
literally had to say that, Steve, didn't you?
Yeah.
The words 2 green sec. Oh no, were the words that just came out of Stephen Sinkovic's mouth, I believe.
Has he made it through?
No, you picked up an incident point. The lap
You
won't
did?
count.
Okay.
The lap won't count.
I'm assuming you're looking at the SDK link with the
No.
tires on it?
No. I just know what a track limit looks like, Steve.
Okay.
The white lines that
is it the blue and white fence? Is that the track limit?
Look, there's only so much grass you can have before you get yourself an off track, and we'll chat to David Kirby now. But Dave, that was just about all 4 wheels in the dirt. Lap doesn't count. Starting P10 here tonight. It's looking like for you.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, g'day Scott, hey boys, how are we? Yeah, look, it's just quick setup change before the shootout. So one thing I forgot to change was the brake bias. So it caught me out there at the S's at the chicane there. So
that's all right. As well.
That's known as a Stephen mistake.
Yeah.
Never change a setting before a top 10 shootout.
I was going to say, the last time a fishy driver changed the setup before qualifying, he blew the engine in qualifying. Yeah. So haven't you guys learned your lesson yet?
My name's Dave, not Mike. Look, no, it was all good, but look, happy to be here and happy to get into a shootout first round. So we'll see where we end up.
I want to talk to you about your V8 Vets experiences. That was actually quite a good drive from you on Thursday night. I thoroughly enjoyed sitting back and watching that one from you. It's not been a great season, though, away from sim racing lots. This seems to be where your best performances are coming as the Sunday night races, mate.
Yeah, look, I haven't done an SRW round for probably a couple of seasons now, but obviously done Scots all last year and finished in the top 40 there. So looking for another good result for Vets this season as well. Going to be tricky come this week with Rod Scogan, but looking forward to the challenge. And look, put me in a supercar, mate. I'm comfortable, I'm happy. Put me in a GT car or anything else and I'm a little bit lost.
I was about to say, I think the words grin from ear to ear and Dave Kirby in a supercar are synonymous.
Yeah, and a big shout out to the team car of 025 who finished P3 in the 24-hour Daytona overnight. So good job to those boys.
Congratulations, mate. All right, we're witnessing the bus driver. Any words on the bus driver tonight? He sounded exhausted from the end.
Oh, he's got a purple sector.
Yeah, no, he's sounding like a bit of a barking dog at the moment, but yeah, Jamie, being pro driver and all, he'll do the pro driver things, and I'm sure he'll put it up the pointy end.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pro driver.
If he makes this nice and clean and gets out of this corner without too much spin, he could have a crack at that top spot.
Well, lap's going to come in. It's going to come to the line, and where's it going to be for Dyke? 28.219, so we'll be the top of the board. but it's not an improvement. We'll leave you with it, Dave. Thank you for your input as well, and I'll harass your favourite pro driver for you in a moment.
Not a problem. Thanks, guys. Have a great call. We'll hopefully talk to you at the end of the night.
Actually, you know what? We'll go one better. Dave Kirby, can you interview Jamie Dyke for me for about 30 seconds? This should be good.
Jamie Dyke, how was that for a lap, mate? Put you on provisional poll for now?
Yeah, that was great.
Are you just refusing to answer questions from Mr. Dave Kirby, Jamie?
Mate, well, if the interviews are taking so long.
I was about to say the same thing as well, mate, but Kirby wouldn't leave. I tried throwing him out.
I'm going.
Dykey, are you having a dare iced coffee right now? Because it sounds like you need one.
No.
No. All right. You
That
sound
sounds
like you're tired. Are you ready? You just want to focus on the race and not chitter chatter to us plebs?
Yeah.
All right, mate. Look, have a good blast, mate. Your provisional poll, you've cracked it, which is really cool. Have fun out there tonight, mate.
Thanks.
See you, mate.
He is
All right, we've got
firm.
Mr. Netschke out there. He's pulled a green for this first part of the lap. Let's see how he pans out. Oh, there's a bit of a slide there.
Yeah, so Nietzsche's trying to do what he can. It's greens across the board, but it's always going to be greens for the people following along at home. So what a green sector means is that driver's best sector in the session. Given they only get one lap, there is only one lap that's going to allow them to improve on their best sectors. That's why you'll see them purple. Means fastest in the session. That's what we're looking for. Purple times will put you at the top. Sector number 3 from Nietzsche is only another green. It looks like... Yeah. This is conservatism from Nietzsche as well. I think this is one of his first top 10 shootouts, and I don't hate the approach when it's your first night out. We've seen so many top 10 shootout rookies, Steve, blow the laps.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But we've also seen guys of 4 green go straight to the top as well.
So Lap is going to come in. He's going to get to the line. Lap will take him to P3, which means Angus at this point in time is still hanging on to P number 2, but the Frog Leap juiced entry car, there have been a whole bunch of your teammates racing 24-hour races this weekend. Were you one of those, Brendan?
No, I wasn't this weekend, no.
That's okay, mate. Save all the energy for your SRW Supercar Sundays. Lap was clean. It didn't look like you were willing to push any margins, and you put the lap together. Currently sitting in provisional P3. There's 4 drivers left to have a crack at the time. How are you feeling about that lap?
Yeah, a bit disappointed. A bit soft going into a few corners there. Left plenty on the table, but just wanted a clean lap. Didn't want to get an off track, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. It's just didn't go as hard as I should have, I think.
What's your opinion on the top 10 shootout style of a format? Because I think this is one of your earlier... You haven't really done a lot of these, and they're a completely different take. It's different pressure. We've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes on their first ever top 10 shootout attempts.
Yeah, this is the first one I've ever done, so something different. Don't mind it, to be honest. See, something different each week would be good. So, no, I don't mind it. It's just make sure be a bit more cautious to make sure you get a lap in. So, the worst you can start is 10s.
How do you feel about a lot of drivers around you there this evening not obviously improving on their laps? And we can look at Dave Coleman at this point in time. He's had a lot of slides as well. So there's drivers really pushing the apron. You don't get another attempt.
Yeah, it seems a little bit more slippery out there than it was in practice. So, just got to hold back a bit, but not as much as I did. It was a bit too much.
All right, mate. Well, the lap's in the books. Best of luck here tonight, eh?
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Thanks. Brenton Nietzsche from Frog Leap Juice Racing, the only entry from those guys here tonight that's made it inside the top 10. But back to another fishy car. They swarm. They hunt in a school of fishy cars, don't they, Steve?
Done really well. He was really aggressive through the chicane and rode those bumps really well. Consistent lap right through. Yeah, that's deserved 4th. He did a little bit of sliding. How'd that feel, Dave?
Pretty average. I've probably put a bit too much pressure on myself, to be honest. But
well, it's a 4th place at the moment, mate. I saw the aggression through the chicane. Was that planned, or you just thought, fuck it?
I might as well go hard. There's no point going soft, but I think the track's probably evolved a little bit more than probably thought, to be honest. It's
a few of the boys have mentioned that the heat's a bit higher.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Same for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. How's your approach for the start of this one? You gotta try to.
I
jump
just want to keep it clean, and hopefully the last 20 minutes or something we can push on. I've got a feeling it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a strong field tonight.
Yeah, it looks like at the moment, based on the times that are coming through for the pre-qual, there was bugger all between you guys in the top 10.
It's going to be competitive. Hopefully, we put on a good show.
Mate,
good luck tonight, mate.
Big question I've got for you is one we haven't asked the driver so far this evening. Safety cars, yay, nay, how many?
I hope for hopefully 2, even 3, because we can get the strategy changed up. It could be anyone's game.
Righto, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Chaos at the start from Dave Coleman, and hopefully he is the man that emerges victorious in the chaos. Defending season champion, Dave Coleman, good luck tonight.
Thanks, boys. Have a good call.
While we're doing that, Jones has hit a purple first sector.
First driver.
And he's just done another purple again. I thought he was going to go. He's nice driving, man. He's ridden that. Oh, he's just kept that on.
I think that lap, ladies and gentlemen, will still count. You saw the puff of dirt come out from behind the car, and he was on the dirt in a couple spots. That is tight. That is tight. I cannot tell you if that lap will still count. He may get away with that one, but as you can see, the lap time has bled away now. He is not purple in sector number 3. First driver to go quicker than Matt Stewart in sector number 1, and that was the first driver that was out on track in sector number 1. There is nothing left. There is one more driver to take a crack at qualifying here tonight. No, sorry, there are 2. My apologies. And what's it going to be? Will it be to the top here from Jones? It's a 28.147. He goes to pole.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
He goes to pole. And I tell you what, Cam, halfway through that lap, I thought there was an incident point next to your name, and I thought it was gone.
Yeah, I reckon I lost probably close to half a second there, so...
Heart rate during a top 10 shootout session, that looked like you were calm at the start of the lap. Halfway through it, you were putting pedal to the metal.
Yeah, it's really starting to push.
In terms of things, that was an aggressive approach, one of the most aggressive approaches that we've actually seen to the qualifying session, this top 10 shootout tonight. Obviously, you want to put your stamp down nice and early and say, hey, this is mine. Hey, I've come to play. Hey, I'm amongst the big boys. How are you feeling about the race?
It's much easier to race if you start at the front than having to work your way through, so hopefully we can stay up there.
Mate, best of luck here tonight, eh? You go get them for us, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the other end of the show.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mr. Tannock is on track.
And I knew there was one driver that I was forgetting in all this, ladies and gentlemen, because I thought Bruce Tannock was going to be our last driver. I completely and utterly forgot to mention that Blake Delaney late in the piece managed to get to that provisional pole position. So he will be the final car to come through. So Cameron Jones, the worst he can qualify at this point in time, is going to be 3rd after your top 10 shootout, which is where he transferred in out of your qualifying here tonight. And the lap time from Tannock, this is unlike Bruce Tannock. This is restraint, and he is not a driver I associate with restraint.
It looks a bit, it doesn't look as aggressive as he usually is, that's for sure. Let's see how he takes this chicane.
That rear end is dancing all over. That is perfect. That is right where you want to be. But then he's a little bit aggressive on the throttle. Has to correct twice on the exit of the S's. The run down to Melbourne hairpin. Right on board here through the final 2 corners. The apex is nice and tight. Opens the corner up. Gets back to the gas. 3rd gear, 4th gear. There's only a couple 100 meters left to run. Back to 2nd. Back to 1st. That diff is really working hard the rear end of the car, as are the bars, as is the suspension. Comes to the line. What's it going to be from Tannock? It's green sectors all around, not a purple inside, but does not matter. And Stephen Sinkovic, you called it a few moments ago. You don't need to do purples to go to the top.
Wow, that was some pace. That was some pace.
Mate, he might be a drift car racer in real life, but that is the least I've seen the rear end of a Mag and Turbo car wiggling around in a V8 Supercar qualifying session on Sunday night, Bruce. That looked restrained, I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot more restrained than I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, I saw the times, and I think I could do a 27.9 comfortably, so I think Blake will beat that, but I'm happy front row.
So that sort of sets the tone a little bit for tonight, isn't it? You had a look at times, you had a look at restraint. Going late in the session, you get the opportunity to review things. Do you think you've made the most of that here tonight? You said, like you said, 27.9. You think it's good enough? You think that's all that's out there? Do you think you've assessed the conditions appropriately?
I fully believe that Blake will let me go at the start and fuel save the whole race. So I think regardless of what I do, I'll end up in first at the first corner.
Well, Bruce, you know what? I reckon that was probably, like Scotty said, probably the most restraint I've seen in your drive. Very smooth, wasn't as aggressive as you normally are, and it worked for you. Good on you.
That's the approach for the season, boys. Try and finish.
That's the key. That's the key.
I was about to say, look, last season, it's in the books now. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. That's 2022 signed, sealed, and delivered. But I think one of the regrets and one of the things that was sort of sitting at the back end of my mind, if you look up and down the ladder, was where did Bruce Tanek go? And it was inconsistencies, little bits of contact with a few drivers, and it was a season of fighting uphill battles the whole way around. Not so this time.
Well, Delaney's just done 2 greens, so hopefully for you, his 2 first greens weren't as fast as your first 2 greens.
Okay, no worries. Oh, well, we'll stay tuned.
All right, Bruce, you best of luck here tonight, and I hope this season puts a little bit of a better note in your column.
Thanks, mate.
Mag and Turbo driver the number 31, Bruce Tanek.
That was I was about to say, that was so smooth through the chicane there, and he's hit a purple sector, and that was so nice.
Lock break going to Melbourne hairpin, and it wasn't tidy at the apex, but you're right, he carried more speed. Tanek looked to pick up the throttle more aggressively on the exit of the chicane, but didn't carry as much apex speed. Delaney did. Now Delaney's on the run of the flag. Last corner, I don't know if I like the apex. It looked like he didn't quite get the car nice and tight. What's it going to be? 28.258, your first pole position for the season. We just spoke to him a moment ago. Driver of the 31, the Mag and Turbo entry, Bruce Tanek. But Blake Delaney, we saw pinch brakes in that final sector, mate. Where did the time evaporate?
First corner. I got it. Not good enough. Is what it is.
How are you feeling? You've just done 24 hours.
Oh, well, we had 2 shots at it, mate, and probably lasted about a total of 6.
Yeah. I was told
we had a shocker.
Chat not to ask you about your day. You got a plan, obviously.
Yeah, we had a shocker, mate. We had about 4 crashes in the first one, and then Angus had a hardware failure, unfortunately, and put us about 30 seconds out of it. So, we were running second by, I don't know, we were right behind the leader, a couple of seconds behind him. So, on for a really strong result in the 24 in the second one, but couldn't do much about it.
What class were you guys participating in there today, and what car, if you don't mind me asking?
We're in the BMW hybrid, so the top level, but I don't know what split we're in. I think it was split 1 or split 2 for the second run, but it was a pretty stiff competition. Unfortunately, we had failures, and that just left us out of the 24.
But that's 24-hour racing in a nutshell, isn't it? You know, everything's got to go right. You got to tick every single box. And for those of you who are watching along at home, you go 24-hour racing in a simulator. It's completely and utterly different to the real world thing. But ladies and gentlemen, it is and it isn't. It's hardware failures, wheel failures, internet connection failures. They make up for your springs that fail, your discs, your pads that don't work, your brake line failures, your engines that drop a cylinder. You know, it has its ebbs and flows, much like the real world thing, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. Frustrating. Can't do anything about it though. Had basically the night and today off. Not feeling anything like Jamie. Don't let him fool you by his tiredness. He's had plenty of driving, so he's sharp as a tack.
Oh yeah, we expect that. We don't expect anything less from him, mate. What's your approach? You're sitting in 4th place, second row. Take it easy. Are you going to pull off one of your miraculous fuel savings races?
I don't know. I've done no practice tonight, so unfortunately didn't get a chance to have a look at the usage to see what we can do. I don't know. Maybe is it a 2-stop race? It looks like a 2-stop race. Maybe we can jag a 1-stopper. See how we go.
Oh, nice. I'll be watching.
So more importantly, the real thing I want to ask you is, with the amount of fuel saving we've seen you do in the last couple of seasons, you are driving on the company card, aren't you? The fuel's all paid for by the Fishy Motorsports Group.
Mike pays for everything.
Well, I'm surprised you don't use more of that right foot there because you don't have to pay for it. So.
No, we're very studious with our fuel at Fishy Motorsports, renowned for our fuel savings. So any practice is good practice. It's probably a good track to do a bit of that around here.
In terms of the team approach this season, it's obviously a little bit different. I get the feeling you guys will probably be around for a little bit. You know, there was weeks where things were just on last season and wasn't able to connect the dots as well. With the earlier start to the year, I expect to see probably the full participation from the realm of fishy guys, the school we've turned you into, the school of fish that come in and attack SRW. So does that mean, you know, it's not just Coleman that's looking for a championship, it's yourself and Jamie and Michael, everyone's chomping at the bit to get going and get that number one? I assume it's not walking away with Dave Coleman. That's about the only thing I know.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dave will tell you that he doesn't win championships and he's no good and he's only a Super 2 driver and all of those things that put himself down. But he's actually
shut up, Dave Coleman.
Really good driver, and we're just back to have a real decent dippity. Looking forward to having a good series with the young fella as well, Ty. So he's jumped in this year. He's running in the AMS, and hopefully he can attack for a championship as well. So should be a bit of fun, and we're all up for it.
I think we're going to have a Thai drinking game on his behalf, because I was talking to my brother about the review show, and I said to him during the show for our next episode, which is coming up on Thursday night, that shit, we're going to have to have a shot every time we mention Ty's name, because we're just mentioning him so often. He's really impressed me at the end of the last season, mate. As his old man, you must be chuffed and really proud, mate, because his attitude on track, the way he conducts himself is exemplary, mate. I think he's got a real bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, well, being a 13-year-old, I really hope that's some of the hard stuff, a solo, a Fanta, or a Coke. But let's make it.
I'm talking about me drinking every time I watch it back.
Yeah, no, I know. I got you. He's awesome. He's doing a good job. Probably didn't practice enough tonight and got in here and shocked himself by sitting almost at the back of the grid. So he'll learn his lesson pretty quickly, that he needs to do a lot more practice than he has been to be able to get up the front, especially with some of the caliber in the field.
Something I'd really like to highlight too, for the guys that watch along at home, you obviously don't understand the level that goes into this, the practice, the preparation that does. But it's different for you and the Delaney family. It's two-tone in terms of the preparation. You've obviously got to worry about yourself and the guys up front and making sure, obviously, you guys are comparing data and working on that. But the approach for Ty, let's talk about the differences. So you sit down, you're coming to an SRW race on a Sunday night. What does the week look like in terms of lead-up preparation, practice, and setups?
Oh, well, if you have a look at he's been at me the last couple of days. Actually, I haven't done it for him to print off his calendar, but he's done his own calendar. It sits on the wall next to him. He's got it all set up with all the races that he needs to race, and he understands what he needs to do for practice. But the thing is, during a race night, it's not necessarily me that's talking to him that often. It's more, the likes of Coleman, Mike, Jamie, some of the boys, and Kirby, some of the boys that have been around a bit longer, have certainly been having a decent conversation with him. Some of the newer guys as well, have been really good. So, like people like Adam Simpson and Dylan Thomas, Michael Angus, Thomas Freeman. These guys have been around the traps, but new to Fishy Motorsports have been helping him out a lot and have really been enjoying it. So, yeah, it's good.
Definitely not a shortage of mentors, that's for sure.
Nah, there's plenty of good people in there. I mean, I've only mentioned a few. There's people like, Troy Maguire, Paul Warwick. These boys are stupid fast in a supercar. So yeah, it's good. We've got Precision Sim Training as well, who's on board with Josh Thomas, who definitely lends a hand every now and then, and he's no slouch in a car. He's quicker than every one of us. So.
Yeah.
In terms of goal setting and season preparations from Ty, what's the talk about goals? What's the talk about setting milestones? What's the target for him this season? Obviously, you mentioned from your perspective, you think he's capable of potentially pushing towards the front end of town, but you can't come out and week one you're setting, I've got to win, because that's just leads to disaster, a lack of fun, and a lack of input going forward. So it's got to be measured, but what is a measured approach?
Yeah, look, fun is the ultimate goal, obviously. There's nothing else that matters as long as he's having fun. But once you get past that and understand that, okay, you're going to have fun every time you go out, definitely it's winning races. We don't have a millennialist attitude. You win or you're not winning effectively. So, but he's been doing really well. He's done, I don't know how many officials he did with Phillip Island the other week. I think he did about 13 or 14. So he's really trying to do that. He's matching himself up to some of the guys that have started before him and are maybe a year or 2 years into it at similar ages. And there's some pretty handy races out there at the moment that he can have a good look at and sort of get an assessment of himself as to where he's up to. But he's really enjoying it. He's on Discord with the boys all the time. They're always helping him out. So it's good fun.
It's good. It's good to hear he's got his head screwed on, good support and structure behind him, and as long as that's the thing for me too. It's got to be fun. That's why I do this. That's why we do it every night. It's got to be fun. Otherwise, forget about it.
Yeah, look, 100%. The only problem is we're both in the same room. Like his sims now come into my sim room, which is a little bit annoying. It gets a bit warm in here, so we've made some modifications. Don't worry, to cool it down a little bit and see how we go.
Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I was going to say something, but I'll leave that offline.
Yes, it does get smelly.
Well, mate, good luck tonight. Second row. I'm sure with the fishy boys and the strategies behind there, there'll be a fair few fishies up front for the end of the night. I'm really looking forward to the race. So good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, boys. Well, have an awesome call today. I hope you have a bit of fun. Season should be a delight, a lot of fun.
100%.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Nate.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Good luck.
See ya.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you we are just minutes away from getting into our first Supercars. What do we call it? Supercars Super Sunday. On SRW Sunday night. So we might just take just a few moments. I can tell you the biggest issue, ladies and gentlemen, that happens on a Sunday night, and this is from an administration perspective, it's not easy to just run these sorts of things. It's not just show up and everything slaps together. You've got to have people that are putting it together. When it's actually real life, getting the grid sorted, it's actually 10 times easier because everyone knows what spot they are. Everyone knows where to go. Everyone knows where to be. You have to tell a computer how to grid these guys up, and that computer needs to know it before the session goes live. That is why there's an extended delay between our qualifying to our shootout and then through to our race. There is a ton of stuff that has to happen behind the scenes before we can do that. In real life, that's covered off by cleaning the track, double checking that everything's all sure and sorted. Cars need to go back to pit lane. They need to go on coolers. They need to be checked over, make sure they're all ready to go. Set up adjustments between qualifying and race will happen. Tire pressures, everything is prepped, gone over and done over. In sim racing world, we've got to load a grid. We've got to get everything there. We've got to allow the drivers time to join the session. All of that stuff happens behind the scenes, Steve, and we're pretty lucky here. We've got an extensive crew of guys that are capable of making that happen. The cameras that you're looking at on board, that's got a camera operator behind it. We thank Howie behind the scenes here tonight. He'll hate me for saying that name once again, Howie. But that requires input, and there's yourself and myself sitting here in front of the microphones. We don't have makeup people. Unfortunately, they tried makeup on me. It did not make me look any better at all.
Last time I saw makeup on you, your hair went green.
So we don't have makeup. We don't have that level of things, but there is administration that needs to be done. There's race controlling that needs to be done. All of that takes effort and stuff behind the scenes, Steve. And it also takes money to put it all together as well, mate.
Well, it does. And yeah, that's where a lot of these key sponsors that help us out and support us all the way through. This is our second year around, so Racecraft, who are our top 10 shootout sponsor, quality sponsor. Then you've got stream sponsors for Melville Equipment,
Grim
Dragon
Industries,
RC, who's our round sponsor. Say again?
Grim Industries I saw the other night on the
yeah. So
I need to know more about those guys.
You got to check out Grim Industries. We've done a bit of a story on them on our website. Fantastic, very talented guys that produce tables and bedside tables, desks, all out of blown V8 engines, or even a Nissan GTR engine, or whatever you want. They do custom stuff as well. The stuff is crazy. If you've watched our review show, the first two shows, you'll see that we've got a table between me and Dean, and that is an LS V8. that they've put together. The next show we've got a camshaft and sprockets and brake calipers that are like a side table that sits between us. So we'll change it around. We'll actually do a show from their premises as well. So they're really nice people, still new in the business world and doing really well. I'm glad to have them on board. And then you've got your regulars, your Warren Brown Tools. They're with us and they're round sponsors for pretty much everything that we do, and they're a stream sponsor for tonight. They've invited us to the Moto X at the showgrounds on the 27th of March. So we'll be on the stand there. We'll have a couple of rigs going. Hopefully, if everything pans out, we might even do some broadcasting from there. We'll definitely be shooting some of the Channel 31 show there. And thanks to them for jumping on board. Toyo Sim are back on track as well. So they're supporting us as a stream sponsor for tonight's show, and also a quality sponsor for the Toyotas as well. So it's good to have all these people on board. That we still need more. It's a very expensive thing we have here. I think we've got a total of 15 staff, and they're all fantastic, and talk about them as much as we can when we can, and love the work that they do behind the scenes. It's not just the RC.
It's actually a perfect opportunity, Steve. I'm actually going to go and pull out the staff list, and I'm actually going to go through it at the moment, because this is the number of people, ladies and gentlemen, that it takes to run a sim racing organization, the likes of which you're seeing on your screens at this moment in time. So we'll obviously start with the big man himself. Stephen Sinkovic and brother Dean Sinkovic are the head honchos when it comes to sim racing world. Also supported by your admin group, Brad Wall, Peter Baxter, Nathan, and ShiBBy.
Brad Wall is a linchpin. He's important. Brad does more than Dean. So Dean's just goes out there and talks. So when it comes to Brad's a partner in the business as well as Paul Gillen. And without Brad, our Discord and the work he does with Nathan and the boys would be absolute garbage. He puts so much time in getting the cars ready, doing setups and all that sort of stuff. He's a bit of an unsung hero because he's a quiet personality and doesn't get up and get grumpy like I do. People forget that he's there, but like Toddy would say, much love to Brad. He works his ass off in the back end, really does.
Yeah. Pete Baxter's just joined the crew as our US open wheel and generally a very experienced head to have around in terms of sim racing and advice and whatnot. So it's been a pleasure to have Pete Baxter on board. Myself, Scotty Rattlegun Rankin as a part of the NASCAR Truck League and obviously assisted there as well. And mix up between broadcast and RC as needed. Then we move on to the broadcasting NRC side of things. Adam Hughes has been a Sim Racing World member since its very, very inception. Very quick in a Porsche Cup car. If it doesn't have a Porsche badge on it, Adam Hughes is probably not racing it. Andrew Cowan, big fan of the SR8 Radicals. You'll see him putting about again tonight in the V8 Supercars as well. Brendan Walton's been huge. You know, that guy actually plays competitive bowls, and that's what he's been out and about doing today. Yeah, Connor Pixie Nixon. Yeah, is out there. It's been awesome actually to have Daniel Harris back on board the broadcasting commitments this season. Again, he's had a few seasons in absence without an internet connection. I tell you what, he's going mental because he's got ADHD and autism, much like myself, and he has been going mental because he can't race online. So it's been good to have him back around. He actually had a phenomenal finish on Monday night in the Truck League as well. Dylan Thomas, Greg Barber, Jamie Dyke is part of our race control team, is doing a fair bit this season. Peter Morris is new. As he injured himself, hasn't been able to get back in behind the wheel and has joined the administration and race controlling side of things to assist. So remember, ladies and gents, if you can't drive, there are other things that you can do to keep things turning. Another addition to the new calendar, to the new roster as well, is Rob Hayter, who's been a new broadcaster that we picked up with, and I have a feeling he'll lend his voice to a few commentary nights at some point throughout the season, and probably
Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Asked are actually the questions without knowledge, because if you can't, you have to ask dumb questions of a rule book, and dumb questions to everyone that sits at home. Oh, dumb questions won't get asked for rules. Yes, they will. Just about every time you race, dumb questions do get asked on the regular, because sim racers tend to disengage their brain when they get behind the wheel. So that does come important. So yeah, you're helpful.
Coming about that rule book, we had a really big off season with that, and everyone got involved, and we really tore it apart and got stuck into it. It's always room for improvement, but we all got in there. And don't forget young Tyson McAvoy. I didn't hear you mention his name.
He's not even. Yeah, I didn't run over him either. Yeah, Tyson McAvoy is doing what, 5 nights a week of race controlling at the moment.
Even last season he was doing a lot of hours in race control, and we're talking about someone who's a team owner as well. He's got drivers out there driving, and to get stuck in, and I guess he loves it like we do.
Well, I think the crucial thing from Tyson's perspective is he just loves being in and around officiating, and it's not just sim racing that he loves officiating. He's actually a high-level rugby league official in and around Wollongong in New South Wales. So he's regularly, particularly around final season, he's doing a lot of football coverage in that perspective of things. So, but the biggest thing I can say is when you look at that team, well, Tyson's the perfect example, because there are a lot of guys that are in and around that sort of thing. The team that we've got are very giving with their time. They love it, and they're here to do it as a passion. They're not here to do it and sit on their heels and it's not a job. It's none of that. It's a passion project for everyone that's a part of that team. And I think that's what makes SRW so special.
I think you're spot on, and we've got a bunch of guys that aren't afraid to open up their mouth and let you know things and talk about things, and everyone's opinion is heard, and that's the key to how good, well, in my perspective, how good things are going, is because we sit there and listen. As the owners of the business, we don't just sit there on our laurels. We get stuck in with the boys, and we're working with the lads, and we're all having fun and a chin wag. And look, what other job can you take the piss out of your boss on a weekly basis every single night?
Yeah,
Probably
regularly.
Rankin and Pixie Connor. But anyway, look, before I forget, we've got to also thank Racecraft for donating a rig and seat for us, which is still available. We've had some really good upkeep on the subscribers over the last 2 weeks when the season started. So we're up to 571 subscribers. The key number is 1,000. Anyone within that 1,000 subscribers can win the rig. We're talking a top-end quality rig and seat worth around the $1,800, $1,900 mark. So if you're starting out and you want to get in there, it's a good thing to win. So please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot, not just with the competition, but it gets us better on the algorithms of YouTube and everything like that. And they're really important for us to get more sponsors and to get some sort of financial contribution from that. Looks like the boys are out in the warm-up lap, mate.
They're in the warm-up session at this point in time. We're about halfway through that one, so we've got about another 7 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, before we'll transition directly from the practice session straight into our race session. There's a few names I've seen up and down the field that I'm seeing for the first time here tonight. So Dylan Gray is one of those who I've seen racing around the traps for a number of years, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes in a new field of drivers that he's a little bit out of his depth with. Out of depth is the wrong word, absolutely the wrong word. What I mean is new field that he's trying to earn respect from. It's a good opportunity for Dylan Gray. I'll be seeing how he responds to that.
And like he just faded away there, mate. And just viewers, while we've got the opportunity, I think Scotty's mic's died. Just enjoy the quiet. Just sit back and have a zen moment. Either that or it's me. But if you've got any questions out in YouTube land, fire away. We're watching the screen all the time. And anything you want to know, we're quite happy to answer or to ask the question of one of the drivers. So please come on through and let us know. Are you back, mate? You there? Oh, I can hear someone coughing in the background, but Oh no. So viewers, this is a killer story. So everyone at YouTube land will know. Well, about a month or two ago, we had a whole broadcast shut down because Nathan's young one decided to pull the PC power plug out of the wall. Tonight, Scotty Randall Gun Rankin has had his cat pull the power out of the wall on his PC, and he has dropped out on there. Oh, it looks like we've got Mr. Nixon joined us.
Going on, fellas?
Hello, buddy.
Thought I'd jump up and say hi.
Well, you thought well, mate. I'm enjoying the revenge, the sweet vocal revenge that I get tonight.
Yeah.
What happened, mate?
Oh, man, to be honest, we had no practice. We kind of went, oh well, what's kind of the plan? We did the Daytona 24, finished that up, and we're like, oh, now we've got to practice for SRW, and I just had no setup, so I was legit making one. I think 30 minutes before the practice session, and I've just thrown something together, and yeah, for quali, I was actually 3/10 up for probably 3 laps, and it ended up I had the hairpin, I'd lose it all, so just had no traction at the end.
Well,
so
it sounds like your preparation is pretty much at level of my preparation.
Yeah.
What's going on there, mate? What's going on there? So what's your plan for the race, mate? You're sitting in where are you? You're
11th.
In 11th, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So kind of the plan is, so we've got a new teammate, Glenn Walkins.
Yep.
He's a bit further down the back. Jordan Davis is in our chat as well. He's a good mate of ours.
Yep.
And Jake and Braden are down the back, and plus Matt's in front of me. So the plan is to kind of work as a team and see what happens. Kind of get up to the front. I was very disappointed about my qualifying. Probably should have been up there with Bruce, racing all the time, and I was pretty disappointed. But it is what it is. But that's kind of the plan. Yeah, I heard the talking. So no, it's
well, you know what, mate? You can redeem yourself. It's a long race. You can redeem yourself. There's a long race, so we'll see where see how it goes. Are you going to go for a fuel saving strategy, or are you going to try to get some positions early and stay and keep the track position for as long as possible?
To be honest, I think it's more of a you can't make a lot of positions on this track. I think it's very position. If you got the right position, you could win this race. I can imagine like all the fishies will be fuel saving, but my plan is if a safety car comes out, I'm going to box with the rest of the boys.
Yep.
And if some people don't box, do a different strategy. The boys might go for a different strategy, and yeah, we see where we end up. But yeah, driving a GT3 now to a supercar is very different.
Yeah, 100%. How's your nerves?
To be honest, I think all the boys, I think we've probably had 5 hours less. We're all, if you go into our chat, we're all yawning. Seriously, I've cracked an energy drink just to keep awake. But yeah, it should be good. But yeah, we've had all sleep, and yeah, just a bit of fun at the end of the day. And yeah, thanks for hosting the event as well. Appreciate it.
No, it's always a pleasure, mate. That's what we're here for. Make sure everyone has fun on a Sunday night.
Yeah,
and
definitely
enjoys it. And I just can't wait to see the carnage, mate. Just keep your nose clean. That's all I'm going to tell you tonight. Keep your nose clean.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. Yeah, that's the plan.
I think the big thing's going to be when there's a big pack, too close to the big pack. You got no room to run off and to get out of the way. It's for me. When it's a big race like this, I sort of back off a little and let the carnage evolve, and then I can make my way through it. I mean, I'm a back marker, so that's pretty much my strategy of getting positions.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think the strategy tonight will be very interesting with everyone. So I don't know.
What's the fuel level like? Definitely a two-stopper.
It depends what you do. I think if you're flat stick, it might be 2 to 3. I think that's where we're kind of looking at. I think it's about 140 litres you've got to put in to the car. Bit of an endurance tonight. but I've been saying to the boys, I do not like this track at all.
It's one of my favourites. It is one of my favourites. I absolutely love it. I've had a ball driving all the different cars on here this week. I absolutely loved it. What about tyres?
Tyres?
Yeah.
Hopefully don't burn off and keep driving it, I guess. That's seriously the plan. But yeah, the plan was to not be P11. But hey, it's good to see one 9 car up there.
Yeah, Dylan Gray's just come off. He's had a bit of a spin during his warm up.
Yep.
It's here we go. Here's the grid, mate. I've got to do some work, buddy.
Yeah,
mate.
Warm on, warm off. Just like my PC gets turned on, turned off.
Have some fun. Oh, damn, he's back.
Oh no. I'm gonna have to look.
Connor, I'll do you a trade. I'll log in. I'll race the race for you. You want to commentate?
You drive
No, I don't, mate. I absolutely do not. Yeah, that's going to go great for both of us.
I've got a shocking setup. You can give it a crack. But no, good luck, boys. Hopefully it's a good call, and yeah, good luck.
Cheers. All right, Scotty, your job is now to read the grid, mate. Go for it.
Is that what my job is? That wasn't my
right
job.
Now, this very second it is, because I can't really see it. My screen's a bit blurry.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, you saw from the top 10 shootout, Bruce Tannock in the Magan Turbo entry put that thing on pole position. And for the first time in a very long time, it's not a Fishy Motorsports car alongside him. It is Cam Jones for United Sim Sports alongside of him. The two Fishy cars will make up row number 2 with Jamie Dyke and Blake Delaney. We've seen those guys do that before. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, starts going ahead, and we are on the run down to turn number 1 for the first time this season. It looks like Dyke's got a cracking start. He's going to shove the nose. It's 3 wide. He backs out. Jones around the outside. Tannock's going to try and hang on to it. Bruce Tannock's gotten away with that one. Excuse me. Down the run down the hill to the old hairpin for the first time, and have a look at the snake. Absolutely charge its way through. 2 wide. It looks like Nitschke in the Frog Leap Juice entry. There's a car sideways feeding back in. Has managed to get away from it. How the Packers dodged that one, I have absolutely no idea. Jones is still sitting second away from Dyke. It's still Tannock with the lead as they hit up through McLean's and into Coppice for the first time tonight. The run down the back straight into the S's, and it's looking backwards from the Magan Turbo entry. Tannock has got control of the field, Steve.
Wow. This is just amazing to watch all these cars go through and the pace it's coming through at. It is ridiculous. I don't know how Chris Miller didn't clean up half the field when he lost control in that corner, but thank God that he didn't, because it would have been a safety car like I predicted first few laps.
I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the 2 cars that are at the tail end of the field, they reside from the same stable. 2 Riot Racing cars. It's Stefan Lawrence and Matty Skulls are the 2 cars that have gone backwards and are off the tail end of the field. They're in 37th and 38th respectively for Lawrence and Skulls, but that is the tail end of the first lap, and that is looking backwards off of the rear wing of Michael Angus. I tell you what, the pack is still charging its way through the last corner at this point in time as the field files through the first corner, and it's going to be Nitschke, who looked like he was having a strong qualifying effort. Really didn't quite get that car hooked up on lap number 1. He's gone from P6 and he's dropped 2 spots.
I've got nothing to say except for have a look at that timing tower and all the orange and yellow going through there. People, that just tells you how close this race is from top to bottom. There is no room for error. If you come off this track at this point, you will end up in last position. You won't come out 3-4 spots behind you where you came off. You will be at the back end. So it's going to be these guys up very front. They're going to be on their game all the way through.
How good's this start? Oh, cars off! Chaos has unfolded!
2 just drifted off.
And that is, I think it was Matt Stewart. Indeed, it was Matt Stewart that's gone backwards. And I didn't quite catch the other car that was off there with him as well.
It might have been Clutterbuck as well. And looks like
it's Daniel Gray. Dylan Gray. I think it's Dylan Gray. Honest to God, I think it's Dylan Gray. Because he's gone back to P21. No, unless that was a rejoin that they were looking at. I think it was a rejoin that they were looking at from Matt Stewart.
Look at the 2 or 3 cars fighting for every corner here at the moment. This is epic. I'm loving what I'm seeing at the moment, and everyone is giving everybody space. There's a Warren and Brown. Team SRW car.
Well, mate, you've got the sponsors on now, so you should be able to feed them off and know who's got which sponsor.
Well, unfortunately, we've only got one of our team. Oh, no, he's coming. Is everyone going to clear him?
Is that Nixon this time?
Everyone's going to clear him. It looks like it's
It's
Dylan
Matt
Gray.
Stewart still. It's Matt Stewart that's involved with it again.
Whoa.
Was it Jackson? It might have been Jackson.
It was Jackson.
Jake Jackson.
Jackson just called into race control for that move. So it was Jackson. That is, people, we're back from holidays and we come to our first race and there's so many cars on track and so much action going on, and you just don't know where to look at some points. But everyone's fighting, everyone's clean. We've had a few cars that have run off and then re-entered again. So we haven't had a safety car yet, which is lap 3, and I thought we'd have a couple by now. At least one.
Well, there's been no toes has been the critical factor, Steve. Everyone's been able to drive those cars back to the pit lane.
Yeah.
That is the saving grace. I tell you what, there is smoke everywhere at the S's at this point in time as Alex McManus is off track on the right-hand side, so that looks like a car that's got in there very heavily. It's missing a bonnet lid at this point in time.
Yeah, he's missing his bonnet.
Oh, they're still going to continue feeding themselves through. Bruce Tannock has just set the fastest lap of the race with a 28.394 at this point in time. Dyke has managed to get
corner
through.
with Brad and Dylan Gray.
Dylan Gray. Yeah.
That was really tight. I would have messed that up. That is one of my hated corners.
Another car off the road on the outside. I think it's Harry Dodds that was drifting back. Indeed, it was Harry Dodds. He actually got a great start, did Dodds. He was up 4 or 5 spots in the opening couple of laps. It's a really good release from him, and I tell you what, probably juice switchover is working exceptionally well for him.
It's actually really good. It's a tough track to pass on, and everyone's pushing the boundaries of the edge of this track. You hit that grass on some of these corners and it just whips you out. You've got no control at all. And the first corner is a killer for that. If you just take it a little bit too hot, you're gone. This corner here as well, the chicane, and then you're coming back to that downhill right-hand hairpin, that is a murderer. And we're going to see, oh, look at that.
Here comes the first move for the race lead. Cam Jones, after trying to go around the outside at turn number 1 on lap number 1. The run through the first corner. Now,
hold on to it.
It's the run to the last corner. Tannock's got the inside. Jones wants to put his stamp down, but it's the rear wheels sliding of the driver of the number 019 for Century Motorsports. It's allowed the Maggot Turbo entry to snag that one back. Race lead still in the control of Bruce Tannock.
That was really well done. That was a nice fight through there. Very clean, very fair. Bit of wiggle there from the KFC car on the brakes around that corner, just losing a bit of balance as he's coming through. Whereas Bruce's car was really tucked in and tight. I reckon Bruce has got himself a really good setup for tonight.
Looks settled and contained.
Yeah.
Remember the words.
Wiggling a little bit in the rear end.
Remember the words from Bruce as well. He was looking for consistency. He was looking for that regular finishing. He was looking to keep himself a little bit chaos-free. There are going to be times in this season where Bruce Tannock bites his tongue a little bit, sits back, sits on his hands, and lets cars go. But tonight is not yet that night.
Yeah. That is just amazing.
The run! The run off the S's, though, for Cam Jones.
Yeah.
He's going to try and get down the inside. I can tell you at the Melbourne hairpin. He is down the inside. He's too deep, but it's going to be the crossover. Go back to the race lead if we possibly can, because it's 3 wide at this point in time. The places have swapped between Jones and now Jamie Dyke. Dyke's got down, got the crisscross. Jones went for the dive. It was late on the brakes. It was aggressive. It was ambitious. There was contact made between himself and Bruce Tannock. Tannock hangs on, but P2 now belongs to Jamie Dyke.
So this is the thing with Dykey. He's so consistent. He'll just wait and patiently just hunt these guys down now. Now he's just going to get as close to Bruce as possible and just keep putting pressure on him.
But you can't just put yourself out. Oh, Jones is off! Jones has had a huge moment. On the run to the old hairpin, Cam Jones is through the grass at this point in time. And he's managed to come back on. He's gone from P3, Steve, to P7.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's because he kept momentum in the grass and made a clean entry back onto it. So he's taken that corner wide. That's under on the corner too. He's done well to keep that, and you know what? He was damn lucky there was a gap for him to slide into there, because there's at that point across there's a 2-second gap between those guys, but he's dropped himself back all the way to 7th, but he was lucky there was no traffic.
Yep, so that's the chasing pack, I think. You're looking at David Kirby, and just in front of him is Connor Nixon. So this is the chasing pack now that are going to get after Cam Jones. Jones's gap now to the lead pack is 2 seconds up the road to Nash, and it's a further 1.5 seconds from Nash up to Michael Angus in P5. I have a look from the rear of the Froglet Juiced entry of Harry Dodds. This is the battle that goes from P8 all the way through to 11th, 12th. It is P11 actually. Braden Sagassa, who we're on board with, is the tail end of this little battle pack. But there's packs like these forming up and down the field as we see Daniel Clutterbuck and the 33 entry of who's that on the door? Is that Troy? No, it's not.
T. Kennedy. Someone just called something in. I missed that.
It was a redress, and Kennedy's just run wide at turn number 1. So it's mistakes. Prevent mistakes. Cam Jones made one of the biggest mistakes early on, and that, I think, is going to set the tone. There was chaos predicted. Chaos has happened, but not in the way that I think a few of us expected here tonight, Steve.
No, not at all. And you know what? Up the front, Dave Coleman's made his way up to 4th, 3 positions up. So you've got... Oh, Dykey's just gone off. What's happened to Bruce? Has he come off?
No, it's all good. All is correct up at the front. But I can tell you what, Jamie Dyke is burning off rear tyres. The rear end of that thing has been wagging its tail around a fair bit. But the race lead has not changed hands, Steve. You're all good on that one?
Oh, there's a spin at the back end, but that's about it. Look, sorry, my SDK just went nuts. I had Bruce dropping all the way down 5 places, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? But look at Brad taking on... Who's he taking on?
Jared Sanfuentes.
Fuentes.
Yeah.
He's really putting a lot of pressure on him.
And that battle for Brad Wall is probably going to continue to go on. Was there damage to the rear end of the 22 car as well? I thought I saw.
Sure.
Oh, it looks pretty clean. Okay, might have just been an angle. There's a scrape on that right hand side. Oh, it's the logos. Steve, the logos, they look like scrapes from a distance. I haven't had a good look.
There is actually a fade on the logos, which looks like the logo's going really fast. When you see it still, so that's what they're saying.
Oh, okay, there you go. You're the graphic design guy, though, aren't you? I'm not. I'm just a simpleton over here. I drive things that they look like there's a fade on them, and
that's
you
what
make
I do
them look
in the real world when I get a chance to. Not as much as I used to, but still there. So Tannek's still sitting up front. Jamie's it's leveled down a little bit. There's the 0.6, 0.7 between each of the 4 or 5 guys up front. Bruce Tanner, Jamie Dyke, Blake Delaney, Dave Coleman, and me, Michael Angus. And then we've got a 2-second gap to Nash, Jones, Kirby, Harry Dodds, and Connor Nixon. So Connor's got himself up 1 place. The biggest mover so far is Harry Dodds going up 6 places.
No. It gets better.
In the top 10.
Inside the top 10, yes. But ladies and gentlemen, your biggest mover so far in the race, you're looking at him at the moment. Not the car we're riding on board with, the car that you are looking at the rear bumper of. It's Ty Delaney, who's up 13 spots, Steve.
Ty Delaney and Alan Dawson, 13 spots. And you're talking about someone who's in 24th place. So there's a lot of positions to be won in this race at the moment.
Long distance to go, 12 minutes in, just about a quarter of an hour and a quarter of the race distance here tonight into the race. Probably time to start to talk a little bit about the fuel scenario that a driver's going to be facing, Steve. Maximum race fuel will be 50%, which I believe is in the realm of about 55, 56 litres, and you're burning 3.5 litres, 3.3 to 3.5 litres a lap.
Yeah, 100%. I'd say at this point, top 5 will be all fuel saving, try and do what they can. You can see that by the time splits that there's no hurry to overtake. Jamie's sitting there at behind Bruce, and he's probably getting as much drift and drag off Bruce's car to save as much fuel as possible. And we know what Blake's like. Blake's sitting at what is that? That's Gray trying to find his way back.
Yes, unfortunately,
that was a very nice clean move.
So maximum fuel, ladies and gentlemen, that's in the cars tonight. It's 55.5 litres. Just done some research, done some checking. Have a look at this battle pack, because this is where Matt, the Chili Bin Stewart, has found himself after qualifying inside the top 10, making it into the shootout. Found himself facing the wrong way in the opening couple of laps, and he has had to do it the hard way. Is that a short shift? Did he miss a gear there?
I think he has, because the way Miller just took him then, and Miller's going to try. No, he's played it safe. It's probably a smarter move there because he was inside line. It would have been a little bit on the risky side.
Well, I think the crucial thing for Chris Miller there is the fact that this is a resurgent, a come from behind drive from Matt Stewart. And I think that's what he's got his eyes on. He's potentially going to open a few doors for Miller if Miller can stick with him going forwards. But there's a couple of rights in racing cars. Remember, the rights in racing guys as well were facing in the wrong directions. Well, it wasn't Dawson. It was the guy in behind him, Stefan Lawrence, in the 052 entry, was facing the wrong direction on lap number 1. So tricky is the situation the drivers find themselves in. Steve, done the math here tonight. It is going to be on average fuel burn or max fuel burn, depending upon what numbers Connor passed on to me. 17 laps, with just a lick under 17 laps is the distance on fuel. So if you can make it 18 laps in terms of race distance is going to take you about shy of half an hour. So if you can get to 19 laps, you'll get to half an hour. It's race distance, 1 stopper. So that's 2 laps of fuel they've got to save here. That's a big ask, Steve.
Do you reckon top 5? You know what? Delaney can do it. I know that if Di can, I think Delaney will definitely got the skill level to do it. We know he's phenomenal in fuel stand. Matty Stewart's just gone into pits, mind you.
That's a great opportunity actually for Matt Stewart. I don't hate this.
Is that Chris Miller and?
It's Chris Miller. Yeah, I think it's either Clutterbuck or Quash. It is Clutterbuck in the TMX car out the back. So Miller will get down the inside. Another position hung on to. I think that was defensive work actually for Chris Miller. I don't think he was trying to attack him. I like the strategy call here from Matt Stewart. Oh, that is a wide car in the background.
Yeah.
Is that Nietzsche? It was Nietzsche.
Yeah. He's on gardening duties at the moment.
Look, the V8 Supercars, they've got power, but that doesn't automatically make them a great rallycross car, Steve.
This is very true. Very, very true. They're that low, and the suspension doesn't like it either. The guys up front are you know what, just consistent. This is I guess the difference is people, you're watching all these guys, little off tracks here, little off tracks there, and coming back on. We saw was it Jones that took a nice picnic before. These 3 guys in Coleman, just keeping it clean all the time, hitting the right apexes, and it's beautiful to watch. Very clean.
So you're watching the battle for the 20th position at this point in time, actually 19th position, as all the drivers are trying to find their way past the other TMX car. And I don't hate this from Davidson as well. You are starting to see the drivers that say, yep, we cannot commit to that 1-stop strategy. Let's go early. Let's go to the 2-stop strategy. It's going to be 3 by 20-minute sessions on those tyres, Steve. But these guys are looking for the undercut, and Matt Stewart was looking for clear track. And that's why I said, when you're at the back and you cannot make it on fuel, you've got to get aggressive with the strategy. And he has done so. We'll see. He was up to 22nd at the point when he filed into the pit lane, and he has overtaken a couple cars. So he's got past Davidson, he's got past Miller, so he's got clear of that pack. So the strategy working itself out for Matt Stewart, and then we turn our eyes back down to the front end of the pack.
He's having a go.
This is Tanak and Dyke, the battle for the race lead, and Tanak will hang on to it at the last corner once again. We heard the drivers say the difficulty of an overtake is right up there tonight, Steve, and it's going to take Jamie Dyke.
I just don't know how they get so close around those corners, and you know you're anticipating the guy in front of you braking, and it's awesome to watch. I think Bruce might have had a bit of a brain fade there, but I reckon that Jamie's also probably had a bit of a second win after his 24-hour, and he's getting to the point again where he's thinking, well, I've got to do something here because it's coming up to the pits. He's either going to try to beat him in the pit and get past him in the pit, or before the track comes up, put pressure on him and then let Dylan do some more saving in the back end and sacrifice a position for himself.
So, ladies and gentlemen, out of the drivers that have pit at this point in time, the lead driver to have pit is Matt Stewart. And at this point in time, Ty Delaney's just gone to pit lane as well, and I'm pretty sure Stewart is going to surge past him. So, just shy of the 20-minute mark. And indeed it is. Delaney is still in the pits. He's only just dropped down off the jack. So the undercut is working for Matt Stewart. And Cameron Jones, I think, has just made an overtake on someone as well.
Yeah, there's a few places being changed. Jake Jackson's lost a few places just there as well. So there's a bit of Coleman is saying hello to. Well, here we go. Jamie's right up in there. Is he going to dive in? He's thinking about it.
He's not. This is faking. This will be trying to communicate to Bruce that he's actually putting the foot down and he's burning.
A lot better line there than Bruce. He's putting a lot of pressure on Bruce there.
This is not an opportunity for an overtake down here at the bottom of the hill into the old hairpin at turn number 4 of Donington Park Raceway's GP layout. 12 corners. My apologies, 14 corners. It's 12 corners here at the Donington Park layout. And I actually want to discuss with you, Steve. I've got what do you call it? A bone to pick with you.
Oh yeah, what?
British tracks are terrible, my friend. Why with the Ashes?
No, mate. We're doing the Ashes, mate. Everyone's just gone and played the Ashes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm
just saying
they're terrible.
Well, the English
because they don't go round right.
No, that's left. It's the other direction, mate.
Oh, no,
Oval racing goes anti-clockwise.
If I was doing ovals, I'd go backwards most of the time.
Mate, but no, they're British. That automatically makes them absolutely terrible. It's decided before you even turn a lap at a British motorsport park that it is indeed terrible.
I actually like the British tracks. I don't mind them at all. I'm liking what I'm seeing right here. The pressure that Jamie's putting on is right on the money. He's, you know what, Bruce is an old. I shouldn't say old, but he's an experienced campaigner, there's the right word. And he's absorbing the pressure really well because Jamie's absolutely pummeling it. We're talking, at this moment, Jamie is only 0.2 of a second behind him. So he's been like that for a fair while. And that when you're sitting like this looking at it on the screen doesn't seem that close. But when you're in the car, in the mirrors, you can't, at this point, Bruce can't see Jamie's bumper. So you can see the top of in the rear vision mirror, so he'll be seeing from the forward sign upwards, and that's it. That's how close he is. So he's going to be feeling the breathing on the back of his neck.
No. See, come on, Steve. You can see a little bit more than that. They have to get a little bit closer before you can only see those bits and pieces.
Mate. He's at 0.5, yes, but not at 0.2 where he was before. He's at 0.5 now.
Okay, I run virtual mirror. I'm a virtual mirror driver, not a rear view mirror driver. So that might be the difference there that we're talking about. There you go. Cameron Jones as well, since the mistake. Actually, I literally just said the name Cameron Jones and he immediately proceeds to run wide at the corner. Maybe it's better we don't talk about him here this evening. Connor Nixon was upset he didn't make his way into the top 10 shootout. He's managed to get past Harry Dodds. That was pretty easy, but that says to me Dodds might have had a slowdown penalty from cutting the chicane.
Because he pulled up a fair bit then. Yeah, 100%. It looked like he gave way. But yeah, you're right. Virtual mirrors does look further away than your left and rights. 100%.
Righto, so Dodds is going to dive into the pit lane.
Straight away followed by someone else as well.
Yeah, there's a few cars that go on there.
Sam Noble, Dylan Gray. Oh, Bruce Tannock's gone in.
So that says Bruce Tannock is not even going to bother trying to save the fuel. He's come straight onto pit lane, and we've got to keep our eyes on where Tannock is going to come out. Because it comes down
straight away, so he hasn't done tyres, just fuel.
Surely that's wrong.
That was quick. That was very quick. He's just taking fuel, no tyres.
Surely not. Surely not. Surely it's tyres on the agenda for Bruce Tannock.
I don't think he needs them, but if he plans on going sideways the rest of the race. So Jamie's sitting up. So you've got 3 fishy boys singing 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. And they're playing their own game. They haven't followed in. Like when you're watching real world, like the F1s and everything like that, do the opposite. One go in, one go out as far as the teams are concerned. These guys are that confident in their strategy that they've stayed out 1, 2, and 3.
Well, see, I'm a big proponent of splitting the strategy. And the reason why I like splitting the strategy is it means that you've got one set of eyeballs on both strategies.
Jamie's in, Angus is in, and Jones is in.
So it'll be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to keep an eye on the pit lane deltas and the time spent on the jacks. This could be Jamie Dyke opting to not take. And look, Connor Nixon comes into the pit lane. He can't make it. So he is going to slip by the wayside. Is this 2 19MX Wraps cars going the distance and looking to go the fuel save route? Are they going to come out ahead? I can tell you that Bruce Tannock is currently in 15th and making his way down the start-finish straight. The next driver on the road, he's got him. He's got clear of Jamie Dyke again, but Cam Jones has managed to grab a couple of cars in this round of pit stops as well. He's played himself back into it. He is now only 1.5 seconds off the rear bumper of these guys. Jones did not take tyres. These guys must have taken tyres, Steve.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'd say that Jamie's taken tyres as well.
At least they took 2 tyres. They could have taken a split.
Yeah.
But Dyke is now going to have supreme pace with that fresh rubber on this lap. Tannock's rubber is now up to temperature and into the phase of the tyre where it starts to go away from you. Just starts to trickle away. So we'll have to keep our eyes on the lap times. But Cam Jones has played a strategy masterclass. The critical factor now is how deep into this race do Blake Delaney and Dave Coleman go? And Coleman has blinked. Wilkinson, where are they going to come through? Sagasa are the next 2 cars. There are only... And Wilkinson and Sagasa are in, so they cannot make it on the one-stop strategy. It looks like it's going to be a 2-stop strategy for the field. The only driver to attempt it is going to be Blake Delaney. And where will he fall amongst the strategy cars? We talked to him. It's...
I reckon he's going to be... I reckon he'll be in at lap 20.
Blake Delaney.
Bruce Tannock is now back in second.
Oh, car just went very wide in behind. I think it's Richard Mayer missed the braking zone by a long margin on the run into Coppice. He's off the track.
And Blake's just nice and smooth there, isn't he?
Different driving style, Steve. Completely different driving style.
Yeah. You can see the way his rear end behaves and the way the car turns in. His throttle and brake control must be really smooth. Really smooth. And I guess hence why he can save so much fuel. Clayton Black and Nishiki are all in the pits. All the AM guys have just gone through the pits now. That's going to bring Ty Delaney back up to where he was before. Bruce Tannock, Blake Delaney. Bruce is back in the second, and Dykey's back in third.
Delaney's gone again. Tell you what, Blake Delaney's gone another lap.
Yeah, he's going to. I reckon he'll be. Oh, maybe even. If he goes for lap 21, it's 100% one stopper.
But he's got to get all the way to lap 21. And we said, Steve, that the margin on maximum burn was 17 laps. That's 4 laps per stint of fuel he's got to save. That is an enormous amount of fuel.
He might be gambling for a safety car second half. Brad and Cowie having a good tussle there.
I tell you what, we can do the math. We can do the math on the amount of fuel he's got to save. It's 12 litres. It is a fifth of the tank. It's 20% of his tank. It's between 20 and 25% of his tank that he's got to save on each stint.
Have a look at the time gap between Blake and Bruce. It's 33 seconds. What was his? What was the length of time Bruce was in the pits for?
40 seconds end to end.
40 seconds.
39 seconds. Yeah, from pit lane to pit exit. Pit lane entry to exit. There's a lot to think about, and I think for Blake Delaney, I think it's a little bit of a no-brainer. Cannot go one more lap. He is going to come into the pit lane 1.5 minutes shy of the halfway mark.
So is he completely 19th? 20th
We'll
lap?
connect the dots here, though, from now to the end of the race with Blake Delaney. Only 1.5 minutes.
Delaney just called something into race control.
I think it was for Ty, actually. I don't think Ty Delaney actually has a microphone down within the simulation, Steve. And
So 18 seconds in the pit now. Let's see where Delaney comes out. How far down is he going to come out with the boys?
He's gonna resurface on the back end of the lead pack. Literally, yeah. So Matt Skulls is going to go through, and that is a lapped car. But he resurfaces in P5, two and a bit seconds back to Michael Angus. But he's only a couple seconds off the lead pack, and again he's just there and thereabouts, hanging on to our leaders. So if he can save the fuel, look, it's a lot of time he's got to give up and a lot of time he's got to save. But the difference, Steve, it's not even close. It is night and day. He's lost 5 seconds. He's lost a maximum of 5 seconds to hang off the back of these guys. He can throw away 15 to 20 seconds here, and he is perfectly fine and still going to make the end of the race. Yeah. Do it. Commit.
Jones is going to still pit. He hasn't pitted, has he?
No, everyone's pit now. Everyone is pit.
Oh, everyone's pit. Okay.
Delaney was the
Jones
only
done
car
well,
left.
that's come out of third. And he had his initial spin-off earlier on too.
Yeah, he's done phenomenal to wrap himself back onto this pack. But his pit lane end-to-end time was significantly quicker. He was 3 seconds quicker through pit lane. So that says to me that he's taken a little bit of a fuel hit to keep himself relevant.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely pitting a second time, 100%. So he might have taken a bit short, and then hopefully avoid the carnage in the pits and pit that a little bit earlier.
Here's the thing, though, Steve. There's only one car that is going to make
Sam
it.
Noble, and who's that? He's with George Ruley. That was nice coming around there, but he hasn't picked up enough pace going wide there. But he's actually gaining on him. This is going to be the battle of the cojones here, and yes, he's outbraked him. Well done.
Yep, so last of the late breakers of that little battle group on the way in at turn number 1 for Sam Noble. Gets the job done up to P14. Jerry Sanfuentes was looking at one stage earlier on this evening, ladies and gentlemen, as if he might be making a top 10 shootout appearance. Not going to be the case. How's the drive from Wilkinson, though, in P10? Started 20th. He's now crept his way inside the top 10.
Yeah. I'm just looking at Harry Dodds at the moment. He's dropped to 18th. He's having a bit of a battle on his own there.
Something happened in his pit stop.
Matty Stewart in 12th. Yeah, some of the boys that I expected to be up higher just aren't at the moment.
Oh, you know what it is? I think Harry Dodds has done a drive-through penalty, which is at 10 incident points. So there's literally nothing before getting to a drive-through. It's going to be all about cleanliness. I'd say he's picked himself up a drive-through penalty already, which has dropped him off, because his most recent trip through pit lane was on lap 17, and it was a very quick trip through pit lane.
Have a look at this view at the moment. It is spectacular. The pressure that Jamie's putting on, at this point he's 0.29 of a second behind him. And Jones is 0.27. So Jamie's gone as low as 0.15 at one point there. And Jones is doing his bit as well. Jones' tail, bit of a wiggle there. Tailing him just as much as, is he going to outbreak him?
Probably something worthwhile having a look at and a little bit of a discussion at some points. So Jones has actually sliced and diced his way back up into P2.
Did Dylan, sorry, did Dikey have a bit of a wiggle for the chicane just there, did he? He must have lost a bit of traction.
Yeah, maybe potentially unsettled slightly, but either way, opportunities present itself for Cam Jones, and he will be very quick to snaffle down on that one. And Fishy not in control of this race at this point in time, as was the case last season. It was all the Fishy show, albeit the protagonists were a little bit different from what we were used to seeing. Bruce Tannock has led the bulk of the way, if you've just tuned in at home, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that was his plan from the get-go, wasn't it? So his plan was to get up front and be conservative. He wasn't going to go as crazy and bullishly as he normally does. And it seems to work for him tonight. He was in the vortex all of last season, so he was getting spins and, bumps and everything like that. And by the sounds of it, his plan is to stay out of trouble and stay clean.
So looking up and down the field at this point in time, Dyke is sitting there and just playing a little bit of second fiddle at the moment to the two cars ahead of him. Could fatigue be creeping in for the driver of the 080? It's been a long week.
He got a really good exit out of that chicane just then. He was right up the back of Jones. And the thing is that Jones looks like, I reckon, he hasn't got the pace of Jamie, because Bruce has actually taken a second off him.
So whether or not it was a mistake that allowed Jones through, and if they're not careful, all of a sudden Tannock is going to disappear down the road. I can tell you the last lap by for Jamie Dyke was 29.570, 5.18 for Jones, and a 3.21 for Bruce Tannock. Means he's put 0.2 of a second on those guys.
Ty's having a bit of battle here with Nash, and he's doing really well, man. He's a very composed kid. I can't say enough about this kid. He's very
sure
impressive.
You're talking about the right guys?
Yeah, we're looking at David Nash right now. Isn't that Ty behind him?
It's Dave Kirby.
Oh, is it? I thought it was Ty behind him.
No, yeah. I'm sorry, sir, but that is not a 13-year-old inside the top 10 just yet. That will happen, I'm sure, at some point in the future.
Well, he just missed third in the title for the AMs last season.
He was really hurt about that too. He really wanted to put a hand on it and have a crack at a podium. So I hope that he takes it the right way, and I hope that he takes it in the realm of puts a little bit of fire in the belly, because once you get that, it's about with sim racing, Steve. Sometimes it's about that motivation, isn't it? And the drive.
It sounds like it pushed him in the right direction with, planning his season now, putting a calendar up and structuring his training. So it sounds like he's figured if I was a bit more switched on, I might have had that.
But it's also going to happen at some point. I can recall a younger Lachlan Capel who was very inexperienced, albeit a little bit older for Lockie Capel, a few seasons, we're probably talking about 18 months ago, when he started to first really get the grasp of things and start turning laps. And that young fellow has gone on to some very, very good things in Australian sim racing. But the first ever thing that happened to him was that he missed a title by 2-3 points. I'll tell you what, Steve, it put the poor young fella in tears, but boy did that light a fire. And I'll tell you what, within 3 or 4 months, he was on par with Shane Van Gisbergen in sim racing perspective. So, maybe that's Ty Delaney. You light a fire under the kid, and it lights such a fire that he finds something else,
Has something happened to Delaney?
I can tell you that
he's dropped right down.
There's some black flags here that have been served for drive-through penalties, and there's a few that have actually just been cleared. I think there's been incident point penalties. So there's some incidents that have gone on in the background. Race Control just said, look, remember how we just said a few moments ago there was a mistake? It wasn't a mistake. We said that the incident point count was extremely low and that Harry Dodds had already served a drive-through. Jeez, that is a MX Raps crew. I can tell you, those guys will be bickering on, and they don't let each other have spots in their 1.9 MX Raps garage. they will fight and scrap and squabble for every place, but there's giggling going on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So when they set up, you're correct. There was the incident point issue.
Yep.
They're clearing them now before they go in to make sure it hasn't.
The problem they've got
Yeah.
is that there are already multiple drivers who have served an incident point penalty.
Yeah,
because
correct. They're going to have to look at the time lost and work something out.
For something going on at home, for you guys at home, a 4X is a car-to-car contact, a 2X is a loss of control, and a 1X is running off the track. So you contact two cars twice, and you are a few points away from being a drive-through penalty in the books. And I can tell you for the people who are following along at home, there were 3 drivers who had those incident point penalties cleared, and I can tell there's probably 4 or 5 who have already served a penalty at that point in time. Race Control's issue in that case, Steve, is they've got to be fair to everyone. So I get a feeling that the penalties for Michael Quash, Daly and Stefan Lawrence that were cleared, they may end up being reinstated. I think that's about the only fair metric. Because even if it is tight and the penalties are really harsh on everyone, they are still consistent.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what the boys go. They're under pressure down there probably and working their way through it as we speak. Front of the grid is still crazy tight. Jamie is putting a lot of pressure on Jones. This fight here with Kennedy and Delaney is pretty cool. Ty's keeping his head on. He's got 4 guys behind him.
Yep, so there's a few guys that are now going to be really starting to squabble in and amongst this battle pack.
Ty going to hold this?
Towards the back end of the field, down the inside of Delaney. Kennedy's going to go the shorter way around at Melbourne Hairpin. He'll get the job done, but now it's Delaney who'll have to continue to look backwards through his rearview mirror. And he is still getting pressured from behind. But boy, is the 13-year-old acting with some consistency there, and it's forced a pit stop out of the competition.
Nice. That was some great driving by the young lad. Michael Locke, hello to you too, mate, in YouTube land. It's been a hell of a night. First night back for me. I know Scotty's been doing some comms elsewhere, which we won't talk about. But I'm a bit starstruck, to be honest with you guys out there. It's not from you, mate. Settle down. From watching the quality out there on this race.
Right, indeed, the cars going by. As indeed at this point in time, there is a car off of the circuit, just in behind Harry Dodds. And he will see what he can do about getting back out on track.
That was a nice late break. Was that Harry?
Was down the inside now. He's got a teammate who's outside. So from Dodds'
these juice guys need to.
It's Nietzsche.
They need to do a colour contrast between the cars so we can see who's who, like what the fishy boys do. It's a bit hard to tell.
It's called numbers, Steve. They're called numbers.
Oh yeah, but the numbers aren't always easy to see.
I can tell you what.
More by liveries than anything else.
The 981 of Harry Dodds has just got the job done on his far more experienced teammate in Nietzsche. Actually, Harry Dodds has just finished his pit stop, so he's on fresh rubber. Michael Quash now, ladies and gentlemen, is coming into the pit lane. So is Ty Delaney that you just saw file in there. And a bunch of MX Raps car. That is indeed Ty Delaney's second pit stop, so he is going to try and get that one done. Matt Stewart, I think, has already done a pit stop as well. Could you see the headlights are flashing there for Matt Stewart? He was not happy about something that went on there. It's Skulls. There's a lapped car in the middle of these guys. Is Matt Skulls for the right sim racing outfit?
So he's getting a bit of interference there.
Brock Mottershead, get on the pipes to your teammate, as Mottershead's just commented out in YouTube land, and say, hang on, there's a race going on, Skullsy. You might have to step aside, my friend.
Yeah, now someone else has had a bit of a chinwag about it as well. He's getting a bit of a bristling on him.
He's in a tough spot. It's not been a good night for Skulls. Backwards on lap 1, and I think he's just put fresh rubber on as well. So
Yeah,
He's
but you know
doing all
what?
he can.
As a professional blue flag driver, it's there's no excuse, mate. It's
Mate, just colour
the
your
guys.
car.
Fair enough, the
Yellow.
guy's 1.5 seconds behind. But
Hang on.
The guy is, under a second behind you, and at that point, these guys are racing. They're probably about,
What's happened to
0.7.
Jamie Dyke? Because he's no longer attached to the rear bumper of Cam Jones.
He's probably doing a bit of fuel saving.
Or has he come to the pit lane? He might have come to pit lane. I think Jamie Dyke has gone for the undercut. Yeah, he's on an outlap. He's gone for the undercut. So Tanak and Jones are a little bit under threat from the car coming from behind. And this has forced a pit stop out of Jones. Tanak will go another lap. This could be for the race lead. From
Blake
Jamie
Delaney's gone
Dyke.
in, and Jones has gone in as well. You know what? We're getting a couple of roasting from Dykey for missing his pit.
Well, I
But
tell you,
it didn't even show up on STK on the timing that he was going in.
Remember, Steve? Remember what I said about Cam Jones short-filling the car earlier on in the proceedings?
Yep.
Well, Blake Delaney had the least fuel of a lot of them to add, and he was not going to make the end of the race on that fuel tank. So he came in. It was going to be an impressive save. He'd have to do about 22 laps of the tank, which is 5 laps worth of saving. 5 laps of fuel he's got to generate on top, and it was too far for the driver of the 08. Tanak's got another lap.
It's just a strategy to drive on lower fuel for a while and a better pace.
No, I don't. I really don't, Steve. He was looking to save. So the fuel fill rate in the V8 Supercars is a nightmare in terms of length that you're sitting static in the pit lane. So that's why he's hung it out there and gone along with that first in.
So
and the
what
other
we're
thing
seeing
is,
now then, if you're correct, what we're seeing now then is Fishy 1 and 2, Jamie and Blake, because the guys up front are all going to have to pit again.
well, Cam Jones is stuck in a difficult spot as well because Cam Jones is hammering it on towards Braden Sagassa, and Sagassa's on older rubber, and Jones is on fresh stuff, and Sagassa's yet to pit. So Sagassa's just saying, straight down the inside, I'm not racing you, get on with your race, I don't want anything to do with you. And that is heads-up driving from Braden Sagassa.
The thing, Michael Angus is just going in as well. Carries out an off track. Yeah, the thing to look at as well is the positions that Jamie gained over Jones going through the pit earlier. He did really well.
Jamie Dyke, yeah, but remember that we said that Jones had a short fill earlier on and a longer fill on that second stop. So
yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's cost him three places.
Well, it's always going to.
Yeah.
So, but what it did create from Cam Jones was a lot of speed in that second stint. A lot of speed from him in that second stint. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now under the quarter of an hour left in this race, and that's under a quarter race distance left to go. 31 laps at the 3/4 race distance, which means I'm expecting about 40 laps, Steve. How about that? 10 laps per 15 minutes. There's a car backwards and sliding around. As we get to the camera shot just there on the left-hand side, that's Troy Dooley, who's going to slide in the rear again.
Oh, how'd the boys miss that?
Great job. Great driving.
Oh, someone else went wide as well, Chris Miller.
Yeah, it was.
And they're both heading straight into the pit.
It was Kennedy dodging. Was trying to dodge Troy Dooley.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Cowie's gone in as well, so Kennedy, Dooley,
And Tanak.
and yeah.
Tanak,
He's just gone in
Coleman.
as well. And Coleman. So Coleman stayed out with Bruce, keep the pressure on Bruce, so the other boys can come in and smash a few laps out. Let's see who comes out quicker, Coleman or Bruce.
And the tricky thing here, ladies and
And
gentlemen, for
here
those
comes
watching
Coleman.
along, Coleman's
leading
not
in the
through. Have a look at the congestion at the pit
If
lane
they cross the
exit.
line at the same time,
Have
that
a
was-
look at the congestion. Nixon's the car that's just slid around through and in front of Bruce Tanak. And Bruce Tanak is now going to fight his way through a whole bunch of traffic. There's a horde of hornets going on. And Jamie Dyke, ladies and gentlemen, comes away with the lead. Something's happened to Bruce Tanak on that in lap. Because he was in front of Coleman, and in front of Coleman by a mile. And look at the head of steam he's now got up. He is all over the bumper of Bruce Tanak. Dave Coleman. And not quite able to get the job done, but that is a fired up Bruce Tanak.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That was a nice exit. That was a nice tough pit exit. And the strategies worked for the Fishy boys. That's very impressive.
I think it's execution on Tanek's side, to be honest with you, Steve. Something's happened that we've seen off camera because Tanek was not that close to Coleman before he pit.
I don't know. I didn't see the timing tower at that point, but that was still pretty cool. Whatever it was, we'll watch it back and replay after the race. But well, what's Coleman's position here? Hold up Tanek, or is he going to try to get back up to the front?
I mean, it's a race. It's now a motor race.
Oh, there's Tanek trying to make a dive on the inside, but Coleman stayed out wide, and yes, he stayed in front of him. Nice job.
Well, I can tell you that the in-lap from Bruce Tanek was 2 seconds slower than the in-lap from David Coleman.
Oh, something happened. You know what? This is what we're seeing now from Tanek. The way he's driving is the way he was driving end of last season. This is his aggression coming back in, and he's going to put pressure like this. He dips his nose left and right so you can see in that rear vision mirror, and he'll just keep doing that and keep putting pressure on.
Wide from Coleman. Coleman just put the car in the wrong spots, and Bruce Tanek says, "Thank you very much."
Yeah, he's took the wild advantage of him there.
Got the precision and gets away with it. I went back, Steve. I can tell you that there was a mistake that dropped 2 seconds for Coleman on the in-lap at the Melbourne hairpin.
Coleman or for Bruce?
For Bruce.
For Bruce, yes.
Yeah, he lost the rear end of the car coming into the Melbourne hairpin, which is just through the S's, that next right-hander, the second to last corner. And that is what has cost Bruce Tanek a lot of track position and potential here. He's on fresh rubber now. He's trying to slice and dice his way through traffic.
Well, he's got 4 seconds to make up, and based on the consistency of the laps between him, Jamie and Blake in the first part of the race, I think it's done and dusted. He might be able to catch up to Jones and maybe get himself a third, but I reckon the big boys up front are they're just going to cruise through and be smart, watch their tyres and wait for the attack.
So we'll take a look
done
back.
Really well. Brad Wall, our teammate, up 17 spots into outright 11th.
Currently, and with Braden Sagassa in pit lane just ahead of him, this could become outright 10th.
Outright 10th? But
it's going to be tight on pit lane exit. It's going to be incredibly tight.
Is he leading the AMs?
And indeed, he's got through on Sagassa, so Brad Wall into 10th overall. And he is P2 in the amateurs. He is P2 in the amateurs. Nash is your lead amateur driver.
Okay, yep. I can see him. So Nash is a couple of... well done, Brad. I think that's going to be his highest finish if he can maintain that.
Qualifying did not go his way too, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching along with the Sim Racing World driver at home. But I tell you what, the level that Brad has gone from a year ago to where he is. Oh, trouble in the background. Was that San Fuentes? It was. It was Jerry San Fuentes. Yep.
Fuentes.
And Gerard San Fuentes' name, Jerry, is what his teammates call him.
Jerry is a race car driver?
Oh, it's...
Okay.
Turn your microphone on, ShiBBy. Jump in on the broadcast.
ShiBBy, our producer's trying to make a monkey of me.
Speaking of monkey of both of us, he does that regularly, mate. Have you ever worked with this guy before?
Oh, you got me a ripper, ShiBBy. Anyway.
Where are you on a Monday night, Stephen? We need to get you on some Monday night podcasting.
I'm already getting dirty looks for the amount of time I spend in the rig and in the room. And I love my wife and my little boy, and I'd hate for her to walk out the door.
Oh! Dave Coleman has picked himself up a black flag. A drive-through penalty for Dave Coleman for something that's happened in the last lap.
Ooh. It's nothing that I've seen on screen or in the timing charts that might say that something's happened. But he's right on the back of... He's still right on the back of Bruce at the moment. Or is that a penalty thing?
No, it was not an iRacing black flag. That one is admin issue. So there's been an issue there.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out later on, I guess. but I think Dave's might have been for blocking or braking, turning, moving on the brakes or something like that, because he was doing a bit of blocking against Tannock before, and Bruce has just got himself into 3rd place. No, he's swapped back again. So Bruce is fighting with Jones at the moment.
So Tannock has made contact with Braden Sagassa on lap 32, and sorry, apologise, not Tannock, it is Coleman, and that was just before Dave Coleman came through pit lane. So that was on the in lap for Dave Coleman, I believe. In the in lap or the out lap, he's made contact with Braden Sagassa. Okay. And Matt Skulls has decided that he's had enough here tonight. It's been a long weekend for the Riot Sim Racing guys, and he was languishing a long, long way down. He's had enough. He's pulled the pin on it. I mean, 24-hour race weekend, it is a difficult ask on a Sunday night, Steve.
Mate, and the level of concentration these boys are giving us at the moment is amazing. Jones has done well as well. He's still in 3rd, but the top 3. 5.5 minutes left in this race, and it's been a hell of a fight everywhere. I hope we've done justice with our comms tonight. First race back for the V8s. I know that I probably could have done a few things a bit better already. I'm already critiquing myself and giving myself a C for the night. But some of this driving is A+. Have a look at this. How tight. Braden Sagassa on the back of...
HQ's Dodsy.
Dodsy.
So this is two guys who have not had an easy night from Sagassa and Dodds, and from talks that we've had multiple times with Connor Nixon as well. Sagassa is the kind of driver.
Is that Flash on Dooley?
Yes, it is.
Inside line. Late break. Moved beautifully. That was really well controlled.
Kennedy's let him have that a little bit as well. So
he's a good driver, Quash. He's just got to work on his consistency. I think he just gets in trouble every now and again.
I'll go the opposite direction, Steve, actually. I think Kwashi is a good driver when he knows the track. I just think he's caught off quite often with newer tracks. He doesn't have a lot of iRacing content. So when we potentially get back to some of the Australian tracks, he might do better.
Yeah, I think you're right there. He does, and he's new to the. He's fairly new to iRacing as it is as well. But that's some really good racing there.
Okay, so there's why Brad Waller gained a ton of spots. He hadn't actually pit yet. That's more. I was about to say Brad Waller's up an insane number of spots. Hadn't done his second stop. No, nothing against Brad, but that makes a lot more sense. He's struggling tonight, Steve, to be perfectly honest, and that looks about where he was in and around from Brad Wall. Nothing to take away from his skill set, of course, but he qualified in P28, Steve. And with this level of field, like you've been saying a few times tonight, it's very difficult to climb.
I think the quality of drivers in Season 1 compared to Season 4 last year has lifted considerably. Just like have a look at Alan Davidson has gone from, what's he up 22 places, and he's just having a nice, quiet, consistent race. Dylan Gray's up in 12th, made the top 10 so far. Clutterbuck's up 10 positions. And it's funny when you look at someone like Peter Pavlovich, who's an AM champion in the past. He's made 10 places and he's only in position 26. So it tells you the level of competitiveness is off the chart.
Something has happened, ladies and gentlemen, to Wilkinson as well. I think it's Gary Wilkinson, if I'm being honest with you, but he's now 9 laps off of the pace, and I don't think he's dropped out of the server due to a connection issue. So what we were talking about earlier in the piece in terms of 24-hour racing with Blake Delaney has happened to a driver here as well. Effectively, you can kind of sort of say his engine's thrown it. Oh my word!
Oh, and I think Brad tried to avoid him there as well, so he's going to get slowed out as well, and Troy Dooley's just going to say, thanks, guys.
My word, what's happened there? Was that rubbing?
I don't know. I think it was just a dive.
They haven't come together? No, I think you're right, Steve. I think just missed the braking marker and then pinched a brake.
Yeah, and then Brad's had to cut right to avoid the impact, and Troy Dooley's just gone, thanks, guys. Is he going to get Brad under? Is Brad going to get slow down there? Probably would have.
Yeah, they definitely both cut the course, so there is a slowdown penalty. So for those of you again watching along at home, we'll talk through a lot of the iRacing specifics. If you're not an iRacing participant, or perhaps you're a family member of one of the drivers that are going on, it's not just race car driving. There is some gamification elements that do happen. In the same way that you may have heard of gamifying fitness workouts, you earn prizes every time you complete certain levels of fitness workout. Oh, Troy Dooley!
He's giving it back to the boys. Yep, nicely. We've got less than a minute just over a minute to go. And it looks like Blake's putting some pressure on Dykey. There's no love lost here. They're gonna fight for the title here. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Did you notice then that Blake's all four brake calipers were glowing red, and Jamie only his rear? So Blake's brake bias is a bit more balanced than what Jamie's is. But this lap, this final bit here, oh, he's even giving it the flashing lights.
That's not to Jamie. That's for the camera. That man knows that he is on camera. He is known as the male model affectionately within his teammates. They use him for spokesperson duties.
He's doing well. He's going to keep the pressure on right to the very end by the look of it. Jones is sitting two seconds. Jones has just decided he's happy with P3, and Bruce is sitting like 7 seconds behind him.
Yeah, that's all it's going to be wrote. And once again, for Bruce Tannock, he put the stamp down in qualifying. He got to the top end. He got to the front row that he wanted, and the strategy has just not gone his way. There was one error from Bruce Tannock here tonight, and that one error happened to come at the worst possible moment. An error on the in-lap for Bruce Tannock has cost him potentially race victory, potentially P3. But have a look at the battles that are going on a little bit further adrift. This is between teammates for 5th and 6th. They are going to go head-to-head all the way to the line. Last season's pro champion, Dave Coleman.
Yeah. And Delaney and Dyke have just come around the second last hairpin. They're coming to the last corner now.
Send it! Send it!
To cross for the finish line. Here we go. So this is the winner. So the first round of the 2023 V8 Supercars. Our winner and race leader, Jamie Dyke, followed by Blake Delaney, and closely followed by Cameron Jones. What an epic battle that was.
I'll say the raw speed from Cam Jones, how good it was here tonight as well. If you talk in terms of raw outright race pace, I think Cam Jones had them all just about beat. Unfortunately, that excursion early on in the piece has denied us the ability to see Cam Jones at the pointy end of things tonight. Drivers coming home thick and fast. Bruce Tannock will be regretting incident on lap, I think it was 32, on the way into the pit lane. And that one will carry over with him to next week, and that'll play on his mind. Michael Angus will get home in front of your series champion from last season, Dave Coleman. Nash will come home as king of the amateurs, or big fish, small pond, as we'll call him in those terms. It's going to be followed home by Dave Kirby. Connor Nixon will get inside the top 10 and back to P9. Matt Stewart, look, he started in 10th position, I think it was, from Stewie. It was P8. Recovers after being, well, probably the best rallycross driver of the evening. Gets back to the top 10.
Does that put Chris Miller in second place for the AMS, and is that Alan Dawson in third?
Not 100% sure, Steve. I actually can't confirm or deny that at the moment. Dylan Gray, I think it is.
Confirm it. So Nash in first, and then covered by D Gray.
Dylan Gray, yep. And then Jay Davidson.
Third would be, because Miller's gone up, so the third would be Jay Davidson. Yep. Fourth, Stephen Lawrence, and Gerard Cifuentes in fifth. No, sorry, Brad Wall in fifth. Yeah. So here's our winner of the Pro Series.
As you can see,
Maxwell Dyke.
The celebrations for Mr. Dyke are very subdued alongside of his.
He'll give us one. Yeah, he waits. He'll wait till Dylan's beside him, and then he'll do a nice burnout in front of the first and second losers. Give us a flash.
But ladies and gentlemen, that is
flash.
They
Here's his ritual burnout. The boys have parked it, and he'll just do a nice big donut in front of the first and second place getters, like he always does. Yeah. Love his work.
Steve, normally this is where you come creeping into the background of these shots.
Yeah, well, me and Dean have got this thing where if one of us is on track, we'll park horizontally, like Dockie's parked like that, so we'll get into the shot. You know, it's all about our sponsors. You know, and that's what it's about. You know, getting our sponsors out there. You know, like
swear to God, when we finally ever get any sort of SRW real life meetup, Stephen and Dean Sinkovic are going to be the photo bombers in the back of every single shot.
Look, let's just say that me and Dean have gone through a couple of generations of partying, and we're not too shy of opening up our big mouths and having a good laugh. So if any of you guys, which we will, the Victoria boys are all going to get together soon. I'm already starting to word it up.
I've actually got news for you on that. My wife is actually doing a job trial down in and around Griffith today. So she gets that job.
Moving down.
Yeah. I'll be moving a lot closer to you guys. So
excellent. Well, unfortunately, most of the other races in our league are all out in the east, and we're talking out way east, like the Mornington Peninsula, out Pakenham way, and stuff like that. So, but you know what? The city's not too far away. There'll be a day when we'll catch up. Nice looking car there, and congratulations to Jamie Dyke, Blake Delaney, and Cameron Jones for top 3. Shame for Bruce. He had a bit of an incident there that really cost him that top 3 position. Well done to Michael Angus. Dave Coleman got back to 6, which is really good. David Nash, nice consistent race. David Kirby, Connor Nixon. Connor Nixon. At least he made it up in one place from where he started from. 2 places from where he started from. So that's a bit of a win for young Connor. And Matty Stewart, I'm a little bit concerned about Matty Stewart's 10th place. Did he race the big race today? What's going on? Is he unsettled? Is the pressure
he had that big incident on lap 1. Remember?
Yeah, is the pressure of the doing a back-to-back going to be too much for him this season? Maybe not, maybe yes. But that's your top 10, which is it's a pretty awesome top 10. You know, I'd like to see where these guys are, where they would race in other series, like, you know, where how well are they doing in the Vets, how well are they doing in the Scops, how well are they doing in the Logitechs, you know. Maybe we should have a ladder for who's doing best in what other league as well. Greg Leake says, pick me up, Steve. Oh, we'll talk about the drinking. Mr. Leake, you'll be the designated driver, mate, because you're not allowed to eat, drink.
Or drive, I think, is the other problem. Yeah. So I can confirm that it's Jordan Davidson is the name of the driver who finished in P3 in the amateur class. So we're going to go ahead and grab him quickly. We'll start with our amateur participants here this evening, and sitting in 3rd place in the amateur class, Jordan Davidson. Difficult night, mate. That mid pack looked pretty bottlenecked. It was a little bit left, a little bit right. You had to keep yourself clean, and did so quite successfully there tonight, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's a challenging one. First one for the series as well. So, had a lot of fun tonight, and it was nice, clean racing from everyone that I encountered. So, no complaints, and surprised to pull that finish, to be honest. So, yeah.
Well, talk us through. We've just seen the moment that happened at the back end of the field. There was obviously a lot going on up front. We did miss the opening lap incident before you'd even got sort of to the finish line. Obviously, the start wasn't to plan there. It looks like you've missed the jump at the green and fed the clutch out a little bit slow, and somebody's tried to shoot the gap, and that's racing sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't call that one out because, that was a pretty poor start on my behalf. So, but the rest of the race was fairly smooth sailing, got myself into a bit of a ribbon, and, quite happy with the result.
So, where this is the first time you've come into SRW? I haven't seen you in our league before.
Yeah, correct.
Where did you hear about us? Who's brought you along? Is the boys just turned around and said, "Come and race with us"?
Yeah, just a bunch of the boys, the 1-9 boys. One of my good mates, Jake Jackson, and Connor Nixon, and obviously.
Oh, here we go.
1-9. Yeah, brought me in on it, and I've been sim racing for plenty of years, but decided New Year's resolution this year was to get back into it again. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll give you one tip. Every time you name Connor Nixon as a friend, you get penalty points.
Oh right, okay, shit. Jeez. I'll know that for next time. Well, this time give me a bit of cut me a bit of slack.
No, we love Connor. He just loves to hang it on me, so I'm going to get it back every way I can.
Yeah, no worries, guys. No, but really enjoyed it and looking forward to the rest of the season.
Can I just say, the Ken Oath on the back end of that car, spot on. Great job. Delivery, spot on. That's fantastic. Find that one online or slap that one together yourself?
Nah, it's something that I put together. One of before the series, decided to bring it in. So I actually work for the company. So I guess they're my main sponsor. So got to run that sponsorship on there. So
hey, they're not a sponsor when you work 9 to 5 for them. Don't you go sell it?
More 6 to 6. Thanks for that, boys. Yeah, really appreciate the feedback on that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got sent an image of that about half an hour before we went live from actually Connor Nixon himself, so you can thank him for that. Jordan Davidson, ladies and gentlemen, driver your number 5. Who makes it possible for Jordan Davidson?
That's your sponsorship to you, bud.
Oh, sorry guys, you there?
Yep.
No, that's your cue that Scotty's giving you really badly for who's your sponsors for your racing, mate.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, well, obviously mainly Kennard's Tire. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, you have a good one. Good luck for the rest of the season. Then consistency kills. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah. Cheers, boys. Thanks for that.
Cheers,
Catch you on
man.
the next one. See ya.
Right, moving on one step further up the podium, we're going to talk to Dylan Gray in the number 6 car here tonight. Dylan, obviously one of the younger members here at Sim Racing World. It's good to see you back out and in and among the V8 Supercars. I know how much you do actually enjoy the car, but P2 in amateur here tonight, mate. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah, not the back end of the race. I just started cramping up badly. And I thought I'm going to pull the pin. All right, now I'm trying to push it out to the end. But honestly, I'm happy with P2, and that made a few silly mistakes, and that just was killing the rear tyres. I think pushing it too hard.
Yeah. So when you're pushing too hard, there was it on the brakes or more likely the throttle? I'm assuming it's obviously the throttle.
Yeah, getting on power. I was getting sideways just coming out of the corner, especially coming onto the front straight. It was just killing the tyres.
In terms of things here tonight, mate, I think this is the first series we've actually seen you partake in from a Sim Racing World perspective. New racing environment, new competitors all around you. It's about getting yourself out there and getting comfortable with the other cars. What was your first take on the series?
GT3s, I think, Friday night. And that was carnage lap 1, and then I was happy to finish in the top 10. Finish where I started, which was P8.
Yeah, and then in terms of things from the V8 Supercars here tonight, how'd you settle in amongst the new competitors? Obviously, fresh faces. You're not used to the way a lot of them race. It takes a little bit of a learning curve.
I was just godsmacked with qualifying. I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be about roughly mid-pack. Down the back, but I was surprised I was mid-pack and that, but it was still carnage where I was. I just had to take it easy for the first 5 laps and all that, get into a groove, and then otherwise it was good clean racing as well, which I was happy about.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dylan Gray drives your number 6, finishes 2nd in your amateur division tonight, and who are the sponsors that make it possible for you, mate?
None.
None at this point in time?
Yeah, none at this point. Myself.
Mum and dad for taking you racing in real world, because we've been keeping half an eye on that. How is that progressing?
Went to Winton today, and that
would be why the cramping. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
It was just different environment it was actually my first time going around a track around Winton in 8 years, but 8 years ago I was a passenger, and I couldn't see the track nothing. but this time Winton is actually wider than on iRacing. It's so much wider.
There you go. From the horse's mouth itself, thank you very much, Dylan, and I'm sure we'll see you again in the weeks to come, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Mate.
And finally, moving on to tonight's winner of our amateur division, I believe it is the man with the mouth, David Nash himself. Nashy's Car Wash, mate. The highest honour I've ever received is to have someone mention me in a video they've recorded. Was it Lee Holdsworth?
Absolutely.
That was banging up. I love that. That was what, a year ago now?
Yep.
Nearly a year ago now?
Bathurst, yeah, just before Bathurst. It certainly was.
Well, talk to us about the car wash, Dave, because there was a little bit of scrapping going on there tonight. Some cleaning that's got to be done on the Holden V8 Supercar before next week.
I felt like I was just driving by myself the whole night. It was actually quite boring. I had a 4-second gap to Angus and a 4-second gap behind to Kirby, and I was just driving to a number. It was alright.
Hey, mate, when the hole opens up, when the seas part, you don't complain, okay? A lot of people, Stephen Sinkovic has never seen the top 10 over here, and you're over here saying how boring it was to be in the top 10.
No, it wasn't boring. I just wanted someone to battle with.
I'm genius. I'm absolutely genius. How about you and the boys from the 24 hour this weekend? I
don't do that. Nah, I was commentating.
What are you commentating?
Just talking shit while they were driving.
Dave, all I
part.
want to know is, Scotty, shut up for 2 seconds. All I want to know is, did you enjoy tonight?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
Have
absolutely.
you still got the mullet?
No. Oh, it's the SDK photo. Oh shit. Okay.
Everyone can see your mullet, man, and now that it's trendy, you haven't got it.
I think there's a neck tattoo on there too. It's terrible, but yeah, I'll leave it for sure.
Okay,
You're our new male model.
So we need to get on the rear bumper. I know that you guys over there at Right Sim Racing do specialised liveries for specialised people for special events.
Yep.
We've had the Win Cup livery in the past.
Yep.
Hashtag bring back the mullet for next week on the car somewhere.
We can do that.
Okay, done.
We can do that.
Done.
It's easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Nash, winner of your amateur division tonight. Nashy, who's the sponsors for the Right Sim Racing? Hashtag bring back the mullet crew.
Let's go with Bliss Homes, Capital Custom Works, FU Suicide. We've also got Only Ramps, which is the new sponsor that's come on board. David Nash's Car Wash. And what we want to give a bit of a shout out to is Bliss Homes, building holes with walls in them. I'll leave that with you.
What?
I'll leave it with you. I'll leave it just.
No, this is the first time I've heard this line. This is. No, they didn't. Was I not paying attention?
Yeah, no, you're not. Building walls with holes in them.
Oh.
Rankin's got it. He's all good.
Sometimes I wonder where I get these staff from.
Hey,
that's glorious. That's glorious. I'm stealing that. I'm using that. Ladies and gentlemen, winner of your amateur division here tonight, punching above his weight inside the top 10, David Nashy Nash.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
Thanks, gents. Appreciate it.
We're going to take one step further forwards and jump up to our pro division, bringing it home in third place tonight for Century Motorsport is Cameron Jones. I grabbed the wrong person. One of us grabbed the wrong person. Anyway, we got Cameron Jones in here now. Mate, in between qualifying and the race, I hear you were smashing down some KFC, mate.
Yeah, tried it. That's probably why I crashed.
First and foremost, best chicken on the menu is?
Definitely the new things that replace the Wicked Wings, whatever they are.
I haven't tried those. What are they available?
I don't know. Something. They're like a Wicked Wing, but no bones in them.
I've got a bone to pick with you, unfortunately. My local KFC was out of potato this week. The air quotes, what was listed on their sign. I went for the KFC last night because I was in the middle of 2 24-hour races. And there was no potato mash. The machine was broken. How do you plan to correct this?
Just make it someone else's issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Jones for politician. I believe he can be PM. You can believe it too at home. Mate, tricky race tonight. Like you said, there was an off-track adventure early on in the piece, but the raw pace was there. That's obviously lending a lot of good signs going into the rest of the season. You'll take a P3 given the chaos that's unfolded on that one. Is there a win in sight? How's the strategy feel? What do you think it's going to take it to these fishy boys?
Yeah, you can't do something like that against the fishy boys because they save so much fuel. I had to push so hard to catch back up, and yeah, just put my strategy out. So I did pretty well to get as close as I did, to be honest. But yeah, I'll take P3 for sure.
In terms of things, next week we sort of look forward a little bit. It's a very, very tricky track. I personally have not turned any laps on whatsoever. We're heading to Knock Hill. Now, there's a lot of curbing, a lot of dips and dives, and the car really bouncing around over it. Any tips and tricks? Because I've got to go there with the TCR on Wednesday. So, mate, I'll take any tips I can get for the Century Motorsports boys.
To be honest, I don't even know which way turn 1 is. I don't even own it.
Yeah, me neither. That's my problem, mate. So I'm on the same problems you've got. Right. Thoughts on the Ashes layout? Because Steve Sinkovic over here is like, I'm on a winner here. Oz versus British tracks. Preference is clearly Bathurst, but second place after that.
Love Phillip Island.
Okay, there you go. So Australia the winner. Britain is last, as expected.
Yeah, definitely.
And then finally tonight, mate, congratulations on the P3, and your sponsors are...
I'd just like to thank KFC, Lake Edge, Caravan Park, and just all the boys at Century for having a good time, cheering me on. And
I believe you were also, or at least the boys were turning out laps in the 24 hours this weekend, because I think our social media organiser shared something on... How did that go for you and the boys earlier today?
I didn't race. I can't keep my concentration up that long.
Okay, sick. Yeah, there's... Basically, the entire commentary booth, bar me, agrees with you, mate. So you've got support.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Well done,
Thank you.
Jonesy. It's good to see you out on track and setting up some blistering pace, mate. I think, if I'm not wrong, ShiBBy can correct me. I think you might have had the fastest lap for the race.
Yeah, pace was definitely there.
Yeah.
28.413 was your fastest race lap?
Yeah, not quite, I don't think. Oh, it is. Yeah, right.
There we go. So, confirmed fastest lap of the race there tonight. Cam, got to be happy with that, mate. Congratulations. We'll see you again next week.
Beautiful, thank you.
You've got a week to figure out which way turn 1 goes, mate. Start now.
Thanks.
Moving on. Do we do these guys individually? We do them together, Steve.
Quite happy for you to choose. I'm either way. Blake is always going to give us a good chin wang. I think Dykey's going to be a bit tired.
I think we just because he's tired. Like if he was full of energy and vigor early on, I reckon we give him a pass on the interview. But I think Dykey's going to get his own interview here tonight. Blake, the fuel game strategy. I like the implications of it. Obviously, you were thinking that it's going to be a safety car at some point. And if you had to pit twice, it was going to throw you towards the middle of the pack. You wouldn't gain anything. Was that the goal with stretching that first stint as long as you possibly could?
Yeah, I gave up on about 17 laps to go. I knew that if there was no safety car, I was going to be off. Probably could have saved a little bit to make it, but I just wasn't sure whether I didn't know that at that stage that Bruce had had an accident or done something wrong to his fuel strategy. So I assumed that he would still be out on the pace that he was, and it turned out he wasn't. So probably could have done it and maybe pipped Jamie, but at the end of the day, I just had to race home from 17 laps to go. I think I pulled in about 8 seconds, so I'm happy with that, but just couldn't get Jamie at the end. Hard track to pass on.
Yep. I can confirm that it was actually Bruce Tannock had a mistake on his in-lap. The very last lap before he came into the pits, he dropped 2 seconds. So he went from having a 2.5 second margin over Coleman to Coleman was on his bumper on the way in the pit lane.
Yeah, right. I just couldn't find
And Coleman beat him out of the pit as well, which was pretty cool, and held him up for about half a lap, which probably helped a little bit as well.
Yeah, look, I suppose if Cam Jones wasn't that close at the end, probably would have attacked Jamie a little bit harder, but you've got to be real careful. Don't want to send the car up the inside and smack into Jamie, and especially when he's in a grumpy mood, it's wouldn't be a fun night.
Mate, you're really throwing him under the bus here for the interview. You don't have to do the interview with him later. Mate, obviously we've already talked mindset with the entire season. We just talked to Cam Jones, and he has no concept of which way turn 1 goes, let alone turn 2, at Knock Hill next week. From my understanding, it is a curb bouncing track. There's a lot of dips, ducks, and dives. I've seen some racing from around there, but never driven it myself. How are the fishing crew approaching next week?
Oh, we're just going to turn on the PlayStation 1, I think, and get Toka touring cars out and run some laps there, because I think that's the last time any one of us have actually seen Knock Hill. But still pretty keen to run a new track. That should be a bit of fun. I've got absolutely no idea. I think it's the one that dips down on the right for the first lap.
I know there's a chicane over a crest. That's it. That's the only thing I know.
I don't even know how to spell it. So
yeah, it's knock with a K, mate.
No, yeah, that's all right.
Coming from the guy, Steve, that was your spelling. I've seen the Facebook post you put out, mate. Yeah, let's not.
Hey, graphic artists don't spell, mate. Grammar and spelling is shit house.
Well,
you know what, like, killer race, mate. Its strategy in the end worked really well for you. It was great watching you at the end there with Dikey. I thought you might put your nose in somewhere because I saw that Jones was dropping off pace a little bit, but yeah, you're right. It was probably a bit too risky.
Yeah, look, definitely had the pace. Jamie, like I said, Jamie's had a long night, a little bit grumpy. Last thing I want to do is bump him. I'll be hearing about it for the next 12 months. So yeah, just let him go. No, I didn't let him go. He was quick enough to beat me. So
there's another race next weekend.
There's another race next weekend. I beat him two races in a row on Thursday night, so that's good enough.
The other question I've got is, where's the Mustang?
My Mustang.
Didn't you race a Mustang at the end of last season?
No, never driven a Mustang. Had a black Commodore. We changed it up. We've inverted the livery, the white livery.
Yeah, I like it.
Gotten rid of the black and gone with the white. So just inverted the fish. So it looks. I think it looks really good. I think we've had a lot of comments about it. So yeah.
No, it stands out from the rest of the team. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a good crew that put that paint together. Infinity Designs. They picked up about 6 or 7 team members lately. The Infinity Designs crew. There's about 6 or 7 people painting cars at the moment, so it's tremendous. Yeah, they get a bit of
nice. Oh, good stuff. Well, do you want to thank your sponsors? Because I'm not sure we're going to get much out of Jamie.
Yes, I'm happy to. Thanks very much to West End Mazda, West End Motor Group. Peugeot. Parramatta Peugeot Professional, Parramatta City Great Wall Naval, West End Mazda Parramatta Isuzu Ute, DC Shades, Relax Marine and Game Fishing, Infinity Design, the Adrenaline Images, and the man who puts together all the setups. Thanks very much to Precision Sim Training's Josh Thomas. And the Fishy Boys had an unreal weekend at the 24-hour. Massive shout out to all those boys that finished on the podium, which was a tremendous effort in top split. I think I missed one in Battery Warehouse, Early Beach as well.
Nice work, mate. Nice work.
Is that a sponsor from Queensland? Did I just hear a sponsor from Queensland after all the Parramatta ones?
Yeah, yep. Early Beach.
That's new. That is new. There you go.
Yep. Been on for about 3 or 4 months, yes. But very new.
There you go. I thought I only recognised the name. Sorry, I grew up just south of the Queensland border. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so I recognised the name straight away. Early Beach. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, driver of the 08 machine, the male model, sexiest driver in sim racing, Blake Delaney.
It's a silly
and it is going to stick, but don't you?
Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Steve.
You should be using from Scotty, mate. Have a good night, mate.
Thanks, boys.
If you want to dispute the sexiest sim racing driver, we're going to have a competition, mate, because you're stuck with it for now.
You got to stop listening to Jamie McKnight. Thanks, boys. Have a good night.
Mate. Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
And finally, it's finally time to talk to the bus driver that this week has the attitude of a bus driver. He's tired, he's over it, and he doesn't want to listen to kids crying. It's Jamie Dyke.
How are we?
Mood's improved, mate. You've got a smile from ear to ear.
I'm pretty happy. I didn't expect that, but I'll definitely take it.
It was a few things went your way. Bruce in lap took a little bit of a slide in Melbourne, and then your buddy Coleman sliding down outside the pits. That was the closest pit exit I've seen in iRacing. They were virtually inside each other, and Bruce just put the brakes on just as I was about to hit the white line. I would have loved to have seen what happened if they didn't. And then I think you and Blake just took it home from there.
Yeah, so I went on a strategy. I noticed like Cam and Bruce had tremendous pace tonight. Once I saw Cam short fill I kind of knew I had him after he's off. And Bruce, at the end of his first stint, he started getting really wiggly, especially in the last sector. So I thought if I can, in the second stop, if I can stop early and force his hand a little bit, force him to push on old tyres, he might stuff up.
And he did.
Yeah, not only that, I heard that he took on too much fuel, which is a bummer, but yeah, and the only thing after that was it put me on a strategy with old tyres against Delaney with fresh ones. So
Yeah. I think your saving grace was that Jones was still there in a dangerous position, from Blake said, that he was just wasn't prepared to make the risk. And I think that he was a bit worried about you being grumpy with him.
No, I wasn't grumpy with him. I just did a 24-hour, became P3 in top split, and I'm really sick. So I'm wrecked.
Well, the sounds of that, you were the guy they assigned to all the overnight hours as well. So they've really thrown you up the garden path there, haven't they?
No, I wasn't actually. And I'll give a big shout out to Paulie and Mike for doing the graveyard shift. They did more laps than they were meant to. So really it was thanks to them that we finished where we did. But obviously congrats to Brett and Matty Mundy as well.
Oh, that's right. No, Mike tonight. Is he racing the Sunday night?
He is, but he was too tired.
I was going to say, if he made him do the graveyard shit, he was probably wrecked right now. He probably didn't watch it, he's probably asleep.
We had our roster set out of when we were all jumping on, which Mike did. And then Mike realised after everyone got off that he miscalculated the stint times. So everyone needed to be up like half an hour earlier than what he told them. So he ended up having to do more laps because, well, they weren't getting up earlier. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, nice work. He would have been.
That's okay. We had something similar happen with our scheduling actually. The benefit being that the team I race the LMP2 on is 2 Europeans, an American, and 3 Aussies. So we didn't have to do any overnight driving, mate. So, but yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway,
mate, do you want to thank your sponsors, or do you want to just leave it at what Blake's just said?
No, I can thank the sponsors.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
I'd like to thank Infinity Designs, Precision Sim Training, DC Shades, Relax Marina Game Fishing, Adrenaline Images, West End Motor Group, and Battery Warehouse Early Beach, and all the boys that raced this weekend. It's tough for the 08, but mechanical failures do happen, and well done to all us boys in the 025. They drove outstandingly well.
Well done, mate. Well, you know what? To back it up with the 24-hour and to take the inaugural V8 Supercar win for the year is pretty awesome, dude. And the burnout was good too.
Yeah, I got to the start line with a leader.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Nice
I didn't know
work,
much.
mate.
It's going to be a
Nice
cracker
work.
season with Tanik's gotten more pace and now Cam's in there. Whiting, he was a no-show tonight, but he'll be quick. And Lobby's back.
I know. I saw that. Lobby's back. I was wondering where he was tonight, though. I think the top 10 is oh man, even the top 15. It's going to be a hell of a season. There's some friggin' pace.
I saw the DPR guys did the Euro server.
yeah, that'll be where they are. So for Steve's knowledge, that starts at about midnight our time. It's a real late start, so they'd still be racing at this point in time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait till next round's going to be a good one because it's a new track.
Knock Hill. Whoop whoop.
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. And with all this new pace in this field, I reckon this is the strongest I've ever seen SRW. And to have a massive grid like this as well, what a year it's going to be.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Do we finally have a driver from any of the podiums that actually knows what Knock Hill looks like?
Yeah, I've done some racing around Knock Hill.
Okay, there you go.
Great little circuit. Very hard in the supercar. The curbs are real big. But it flows nice, and there's going to be plenty of carnage into turn 1 and into the last corner. And the last
Righto.
corner is really the only spot you can pass.
So
nice.
we're going to grab you from practice next week, and you're going to give us a commentated lap. What do you reckon?
I can do that.
Right, done.
Nice.
That'll do nicely as an intro, and then I can sit down and go, oh yeah, that goes there, that goes... This turn goes right. Ah,
Can you do it? Can you do it before Tuesday's race so I can use it as a track guide?
Oh, I could come in as a special guest on Tuesday.
That'd be nice, actually. That's not a bad idea, mate. That's not a bad idea at all. I might take you up on that. I'll reach out to you during the week.
No worries.
Well, mate,
ladies and gentlemen, tonight's race and round winner, Mr. Jamie Dyke, driver of the 080. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, boys. You have a good one.
Take care, legend.
Go get some sleep, brother. You sound exhausted. Go get some sleep.
I will.
Well, Scotty,
Righto.
what a race. What a night.
Round one.
I know. And this first round, and I got goosebumps thinking about it. But I think the rest of the season is going to be absolutely epic. If you're still out there watching, there's people out there watching, please like and subscribe so you don't forget when we're on. Hit the notification button. This is going to be absolute amazing season of V8 Supercars.
I can tell you, Steve, you're actually the big man for I've got to make sure that I do this sort of every night, make sure that I've done it. You know what we haven't done? We haven't done a proper sponsor shout out. That's how good the racing has been here tonight. There's been something to look at
We
all
did that
stages.
while you were chasing your cat.
Ah, okay, there you go. Well, no, the cat actually stood on my power button for my PC. That's what happened at the start. So
there
I actually
you go.
turned my computer off.
I've had that done before as well. Well, let's go through them again anyway, and give them all a shout out because we love them, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. I'm telling you, that is a fact. And
Well,
if you're wanting to be part of it, get on board and give me a call.
Tonight's round sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, for your first V8 Supercars Super Sundays for Sim Racing World. There's some alliteration in that, let me tell you. Round sponsor, Dragon RC. If you're looking to get involved in this world of remote-controlled racing cars, there'll be a spotlight on that this next week in terms of the TV world. Or perhaps you're interested in getting your kid maybe a drone for Christmas, maybe a little helicopter for Christmas. You can get in contact with the team from Dragon RC. Anything remote-controlled and hobby-based, they can get you started. The safety car part tonight has been brought to you by the promo department. That car never exited the pit lane on a night where we might see multiple opportunities of that car exiting the lane. Tonight's fastest lap, brought to you by Cam Jones, is proudly sponsored by Melville Equipment Corporations. It was your racecraft qualifying and top 10 shootout, and Warren and Brown Tools, Fast Track Experiences, and Toyo Sim round out the sponsor list. Warren and Brown Tools for the ultimate in your tool needs. If you're looking for some new tools, look for the Warren and Brown's quality experience. Fast Track V8 Experiences if you're looking to get yourself out on track and in the passenger seat or even the driver's seat of a V8 supercar or any of a number of cars. Fast Track Experiences can get you out there. Toyo Sim for the world of simulator racing equipment. They can get you started with new wheelbases and even wheels to get you out on track. And finally, Racecraft Simulations, your biggest rig builder in the West. It's Racecraft Simulations. Join John and the team as they bring you some of the best in your hardware needs. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your first of the V8 Supercars Super Sundays on your Sunday nights. My name's Scotty Rattlegun Rankin. Stephen Sinkovic has been beside me, and Nathan Howard behind the scenes. We will see you again tomorrow night for your NASCAR track action. See you then.
Don't forget to watch Channel 31 Wednesday night 9 p.m, Thursday night at 9 p.m, and Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m, and catch up with all the action that we can give you on free-to-air TV.
That's right, don't forget, I'm on there.